Do you?
Inside leg is 31.
31?
What
Wee
are you?
short legs? I'm probably about 31 too.
No,
we could swap
but you're a couple
trousers.
inches taller than
Any
you.
decent jeans about you that you don't wear anymore?
No, I do wear jeans.
You must have stuff, clothes that you don't wear anymore that fit me.
No, sure. Listen, what
What?
would you do with them?
Wear them. What are you going to do with them?
I don't have any clothes.
You don't have any clothes. What are you wearing?
My clothes, but
Yeah.
I don't have any spare clothes to give to you.
Do you not?
Anyway, you're loaded.
And that's right.
You could buy whatever clothes you like.
That's right, Daddy.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. But where you must have a wee short upper body then, so.
What do you mean short upper body?
Well, I'm a couple of inches taller than you, and our legs are the same.
What height
length.
are you?
I'm 5'11" and a half.
Oh, you're a big boy.
Yeah.
I'm 5'8".
Well,
Wee titty boy. I wear high heels on Friday night
and
when
you've
we're
got
out.
you've got 31-inch inside leg.
Roughly, yeah.
Well, you must have a wee tight head in you or something.
We top
lost
upper
a-
half, maybe.
You've lost a couple of inches somewhere.
Yeah, maybe. Got hair, you see. But see, if me and you stood together, I would look same height as you because I have hair.
Aye, that's true.
In all fairness,
it is a disadvantage. There's no doubt about
Come here,
that.
we better go from you.
Well, that
Good
come in
timing.
loud, didn't it?
Yeah. All right. Then.
What did you say about Friday night? Are you going out? Were you going on the sesh?
Just
session?
to the next day, afterwards.
Oh,
Do you
don't
know I
talk
have
to me.
routine with the boys and don't
Me
want to
too.
upset that.
Yes,
well, you know the
exactly.
crack.
So what are we going to do?
You have a designated driver. You're lucky.
Well,
Can I get
that's
home with you? What time are you going? Home?
Maybe. That's not going to happen Saturday morning. What are we going to do then?
I don't know. We'll have to. It's only Tuesday.
Just have to grin
It's a
and
long
bear
week.
it.
Maybe come.
I'm dreading it
Come-
already.
What's
I'm dreading Saturday morning already.
Well,
but
see, this
anyway.
is it. You see, it's grand at the time. I know you got to live.
Anyway, let's worry about it at the time, and then we'll worry
Tomorrow's
about the other
Wednesday.
stuff
We'll worry about it
afterwards.
Wednesday.
Yeah. Okay, right.
Have a good
Thanks for
show.
that, Lee.
Right.
It is the 9 till noon show, 9 o'clock time for a news update, and let's go over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. 2 young children have been left traumatised after a firework was thrown at them in Buncrana. The Cahirlock of Inishowen Municipal District is now appealing to parents to ensure their children are not being sold to devices. Councillor Jack Murray says while the children were fortunate to have escaped physical harm, they were left very frightened after the firework exploded in between them. He added that Halloween should be a joyous occasion for everyone and expressed hope that this was an isolated incident.
Check if your children may have fireworks, check if they're spending their lunch money on fireworks, and remind them just of the dangers of these, which are small explosives really. So look, this was a near miss this time, but obviously those children are very, very traumatised by it. They're very scared, and the mother's very, very shaken by it too. So hopefully this will be the last of these incidents, just if we can create as much awareness of that.
A house is going to be searched in County Louth this morning as part of the search for Kyron Durnan. The 8-year-old boy is missing and presumed dead. Stephanie Roan now reports.
Kyron Durnan was reported missing in August, but Gardaí believe he may have been last seen 2 years before that. Last week, Gardaí appealed for information saying he's missing, presumed dead, and launched a murder investigation. This morning, in a significant breakthrough in the case, they've revealed they have now taken possession of a private home in Dundalk after obtaining an order from the District Court. That home's going to be forensically searched today, along with the garden and adjoining ground. Gardaí say the purpose of the searches are to discover any evidence on what happened to the young boy.
Donegal Sports Club has made a public appeal after its equipment storage facility was destroyed by Storm Ashley. Kincastle Rowing Club shared images online of their cabin, which has been left in ruins following the extreme weather over the weekend. They're now seeking a vacant unit to house their equipment and to ensure the survival of their club. Fines are set to double for unemployed people who refuse to engage with social services. The current fine is €44 and that's set to rise to €90 according to the Irish Independent. It's one of the last acts of Minister Heather Humphreys, who's standing down in the upcoming general election. Suzanne Rogers from Social Justice Ireland says there's other questions to be asked before a fine is imposed.
This is really a question about why people are unable to engage with the system and why why these fines are being put into place. It's an extraordinary amount of money to take off somebody who's on €232 a week, which no matter what angle you come at that is not enough to get by on anyway.
For weather now, a mostly dry day today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells along with just a few showers and highest temperatures of 12 or 13 degrees. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. We'll be back again at 10 o'clock.
Ladies, always discreet, has something to say. If your bladder leaks or not, always remember to squeeze the day. Keep your pelvic floor those leaks away.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, a very good morning to you. 4 minutes past 9. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of October. How you all doing out there in Radio Land? It's great to have you on board for the next 3 hours on what's going to be a busy show. We are going to talk about the possibility, in fact, the probability, the likelihood of a general election on November 29th. John McAteer is going to be joining me to discuss that. If you've got a comment in relation to that, or indeed a question for John, feel free to get in touch with us. I'll give you the numbers right now. 086 60 25,000. That's your WhatsApp and text. So give us a call on 07491 25,000. If you want to email, it's comments@highlandradio.com. After 10, Community Garda Information. Well, we'll bring you the latest appeals and information from An Garda Síochána here in Donegal first and live. That and so much more besides. If you want to watch today's proceedings, well, hop on your smart TV or Fire Stick. If you're at home, open up the YouTube app and search Highland Radio Ireland. Give us a like and a subscribe. We're across Facebook too. Highland Radio News, Sport and Obituaries, and also Highland Hub. And on the X platform, streaming around the world. Okay, let's have a look at some of the newspapers this morning. The Irish Times this morning. The government has been advised to increase driving licence and car testing fines, hike penalties for dangerous road users, and expand direct exchequer funding of road safety amid a series of dire financial warnings about the Road Safety Authority. A final copy of an external review into the agency, seen by the Irish Times, says there is a risk of insufficient resources and focus being allocated to road safety and education. It also recommends a wider overhaul of the RSA and the transfer of some function to the Department of Transport, which had been expected, and that was mooted on this programme last week. The report by consultancy firm Indacon also details growing financial pressure at the RSA, outlining that the annual deficit is expected to rise from around 20 million this year to nearly 45 million in 2033, with a deficit in several operational areas. You'd wonder where all the money is going, though, wouldn't you? They just recently hired a PR firm to sort of handle the public message as to why road deaths are increasing, according to reports. So is that a fantastic way to spend money? I don't know. But for the authority's accumulative reserves, which shortly are likely to be depleted, no funding would be available for crucial road safety functions, the report warns. So there's something seriously amiss there. I think road safety should be brought under the control of whichever government is in power at the time, with others consulting into it. I think to have some agency that is struggling financially for whatever reason being responsible for trying to get that message out there is crazy, and we need to look seriously at that. The three leaders of the coalition parties agreed last night that the general election would be held this year, but there was no agreement on a date or on when the election would be called. Taoiseach Simon Harris indicated his preference for a Friday, but the leaders did not formally agree a day or date. Officials were tight-lipped about last night's meeting, which came after the Green leader Roderick O'Gorman's call for a November 29th election caused significant anger in both Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. A three-line statement was issued by the leaders after their meeting last night, which said simply that the leaders had agreed the general election will take place in 2024, that they had agreed the passage of the finance bill is the priority for the government, and that the committee stage of the bill will commence on November 5th. I wonder, will that allow time for legislation to be passed to allow changes to the defective concrete scheme to be retrospective? I certainly will have my concerns that will be a job for the next government, which is going to leave a Christmas of ill content for those affected by that, waiting for news on that. But anyway, it does look like November 29th. That's what we're preparing for here. And we'll talk about that more, as I say, with the Tyrconnell Tribune's John McAteer a little later on. I mean, the 22nd seems too soon. That all will be dissolved on the 5th of November or very shortly thereafter. And you don't want to go into December, do you? Because then you're interfering with people's Christmas preparations. So all signs point to November the 29th, with counting of ballots then on the following day. You heard reference to this in the news, but for those just tuning in, I wonder what your views are on this. It's from the Irish Independent. Unemployed people who refuse to engage with social welfare employment services will see their job seekers benefit cut by €90 under a plan quietly signed off by the government after the budget. In one of her last acts as Social Protection Minister, Heather Humphreys decided to double the fine imposed on unemployed people in receipt of job seekers' payments who do not engage with her department. So these are people who are receiving social welfare. They've been called to look at opportunities, training opportunities, placement opportunities with the department. They've refused to do so, and now their payments will be cut by €90 per week. The previous reduction imposed on people who do engage with social welfare services on 2 occasions was €44, but Miss Humphreys doubled the penalty to 90 in the social welfare bill, which passed through the Dáil unannounced. The legislation will be debated in the Shannon today. Ms Humphreys, who last weekend made the shock decision to pull out of the general election, clashed with Fianna Fáil and Green Party members during the budget negotiations over a proposal to increase the state pension by €15 a week while leaving the job seekers rate unchanged. So if you were in the Shannon today, if you're a senator and you're asked to speak on these proposals, would you be yay? Yes, indeed. The payment should be cut by €90, or would you be nay, that there are other things that need to be looked at and so on and so forth? Do you back her or not in that regard? As you would know, petrol and diesel seems very high at the moment. It has been higher, but it seems very high. But why? Because prices have dropped elsewhere, but not necessarily here. This is in the Irish Daily Mail. Petrol and diesel prices have dropped for the 3rd successive month, but Irish drivers are still paying extortionate amounts of fuel tax, experts say. Petrol has increased by 2 cents to an average of 1.72 per litre, while diesel prices fell by 1 cent to an average of 1.66 per litre, marking the continuation of a decline in prices since August. But with excise duty and VAT, Ireland is still paying more for diesel than almost any other European country and more fuel tax than any other EU state. Kevin McPartland, CEO of industry body Fuels for Ireland, who we've spoken to on this programme on a number of occasions, he said, I think it's bizarre, weeks away from election, that the government is getting away with this. Even with the current drop, the high commodity price means the government is making more on VAT than it normally would by putting 23% on top of everything else. He added, the government is really making a killing on the back of Irish motorists because of those high taxes, and they're being slightly covered by the fact that the fuel prices dropped, concealing that they're taking more than ever before. On to the Irish Daily Star this morning, and Children's Minister Roderick O'Gorman has asked TUSLA to refer its handling of Kyran Dernan's case to a panel that investigates the deaths of children in state care. Minister O'Gorman confirmed that he had asked TUSLA to refer the case to the National Review Panel, which would normally examine cases after a Garda investigation is complete. Last week, Gardaí launched a murder investigation following the reported disappearance of Kyran, 8 in Drogheda, County Louth. Kyran and his mother were reported missing in August. However, Gardaí believe the young boy may have died up to 2 years ago. Kyran's mother, Dela Dernan, was found safe and well in the UK. Kyran had contact with at least one TUSLA worker before he disappeared. So it's not that TUSLA weren't aware of Kyran. They'd had at least one meeting with the social worker before his disappearance. It's understood Kyran left school before the summer holidays in 2022, which was the last confirmed sighting that Gardaí have of him. Now, you will know, and many of you will know, you would have got letters during COVID. Many of you would, not all of you, of course, during COVID or post-COVID, where your child would have been absent for over, 20, 21, 22 days. And a lot of people were like, well, why am I getting these letters? Well, they were effectively to, I presume, ensure that there were no child safety issues. But obviously, did this happen in Kyran's case? Was there any follow-up? Was no one surprised or questioning how this young lad, seemingly disappeared off the face of the earth, had always gone to Northern Ireland and that was just accepted with no proof? Where is he? Can we pass it on to an agency in the north and do a welfare check? That was it, nothing. The Garda investigation team upgraded Kyran's case to a murder probe last Wednesday, and investigations are continuing. So the reason why I think it's important that those investigations do continue and every element of that is looked at is because this is the case that we know of. This is the case of Kyron. How many are there other children who the state presumes have moved elsewhere but haven't, and could be either dead or being abused or whatever it might be? It's not reported in the papers today, but Gardaí have taken over a house, and they're going to conduct searches of the house, gardens and adjacent lands in their search for that wee angel, young Kyron there. Back to politics. The Irish Daily Mirror this morning. Mary Lou McDonald has vowed to issue an unequivocal apology to a teenager over Sinn Féin's handling of the Niall O'Donnell scandal. She will also correct the record on the young man's age after it was incorrectly stated he was 17 when he received the texts. He was 16, and as I said in the show yesterday, that's a no-brainer. She thought he was 17, has learnt he's 16, and as I said yesterday, I have no doubt she will correct the record as soon as she has an opportunity. Mr. O'Donnell resigned from the Seanad in December, 2 months after he stood down from the party. Sinn Féin had initially claimed he'd stepped down for mental health reasons, but admitted he'd sent inappropriate texts to a teen. The party continuously insisted last week the boy who had received the texts from 17. The party continuously insisted last week the boy who had received the texts was 17. Sorry, there's a typo there. However, in a statement issued to the Sunday Independent, the teenager confirmed he was just 16 as he called on Miss McDonald to apologise for her disastrous handling of the case. That come from the younger teen there. And a teacher supply crisis means unqualified people are filling hundreds of roles, it's been claimed. This is in The Sun. Some 951 posts are vacant in primary and special schools, the survey found, and schools expect a further 1,816 vacancies from next January. It means they have been forced to rely on personnel not registered with the Teachers' Council to cover short-term teaching absences. Now, obviously, and the conversation has been had, there are hundreds and hundreds of teachers leaving this country as soon as they're qualified every single year. They contribute to their education. The state does too. Is it time? Because if this is a crisis, you have to do crazy things in crisis times. Is it time, and we've mentioned this on the show before and it's proved controversial and it's not necessarily my view, but is it time that we insist that if you are educated and qualified in this country, that you must serve at least a period of time before moving abroad or whatever it might be? I don't know. How controversial is that, if at all? Or do you think it's a person's own life, their own education and their own contribution, and they can do with it what they wish, i.e. head to Dubai, Australia, America, Britain, wherever it might be? Let us know your views on that and anything else that you want to talk about on 08660 25000, or give us a call, in fact, on 07491 25000.
The 9 till noon show with Sony Centre Letterkenny, Ireland's only Sony store, offering the best deals guaranteed. TVs, soundbars, headphones, cameras, party speakers and much more. Shop in-store or online at sonycentre.ie.
If you're an employer, you probably already know how important your employees are to your business. And you've probably heard about auto-enrolment, the government's new retirement savings scheme that helps employees to save for their future. And you probably know that it's starting soon. So why not visit gov.ie/auto-enrolment and make sure your business is ready for when it happens. A Government of Ireland initiative brought to you by the Department of Social Protection.
Hello, it's Breaching here from McDade's Bathroom Plumbing Tiles in Buncrana. We're thrilled to be celebrating 50 years of quality and service. Come join us on October 25th from 11 to 4:30 for a day of celebration. We're marking 5 decades of serving our amazing community. Everyone is welcome, whether you've been with us for years or it's your first time visiting. There'll be live broadcasts with Highland Radio, loads of prizes to be won, refreshments and a trip down memory lane as we look back at our journey. Remember, at McDade's we're celebrating 50 years where quality and service always count.
It's my family, my business. I don't need any help from you people. Keep asking all these questions. Mum and me are fine. I'm gonna leave her alone for 5 minutes. She freaks out. I just don't know how to help her. Note said she's not coming back. I've got no family, no friends. Came over yesterday. Things are kind of normal again thanks to you listening to me every week. I'm feeling better, you know.
Bernardo's changed many children's stories, but we can't without your support. Please donate today at bernardos.ie, because childhood lasts a lifetime.
If you're running low on worktop space, the new Ninja Double Stack Air Fryer is perfect. Raymond Swinney here from Ben Swinney Euronics. With 2 stacked drawers and 2 meal racks, it evenly cooks 4 layers of food at the same time. Perfect for up to 8 people, saving up to 55% on energy costs compared to conventional ovens. See the new Ninja Double Stack Air Fryer at Ben Swinney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, or in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
Well, the time now is 19 minutes past 9, and you are very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Just a nice one to kick us off here. Of course, we had the big cash draw during the summer, and we got an email from someone that won, and it reads as follows. Hello there. Just want to say a big thank you on the €10,000 prize money from your summer draw last year. Myself and my wife had just bought a house in Artane in Dublin at that time, and we were in the middle of moving, so the funds were most welcome and put to great use. I always have Highland on my Alexia, but unfortunately haven't been as lucky in any competitions since. Thanks again, and keep up the good work on the show. Thanks from Dara McCafferty. Well, Dara, you've €10,000 in your pocket. You'll be all right. Sure, you might win again in the future. John McAteer's with me. Hi, John.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I can't see you. Do you have your privacy thing on your webcam?
Let me see. Where's that now?
I want to be able to see you, John.
It's rather odd, that. You can't see me.
No.
Camera's on. Camera's on.
There can be a little black thing on the camera for privacy that goes across the camera. But sure, anyway, it'll be grand.
I'm checking that, so like I can see you clearly.
I know. How do I look?
You're wonderful, as always.
John,
why shouldn't you be?
Don't worry about that. Come here, before we get into the serious stuff. Happy birthday. Hope.
Thank you. Thanks a million.
How did you feel about sort of, all the nice things that was said to you and said about you and celebrating such a milestone? Are you comfortable with that kind of stuff?
I don't have any issue with it, but it never happened before, you see.
Okay.
No anticipation that was going to happen, not a clue.
Brilliant. Fantastic
I just walked in, make a cup of tea for Eamon McFadden and myself, and Glacia went piping up the stairs to meet everybody.
Yeah, what a beautiful wee dog Glacia is too.
The first inkling that I had that there was something going on here was that when I opened the kitchen door to go out into the hallway, there you were with wee Hudson, and there was Caroline Orr, and who else? The place was full of people at that point.
There's loads of people there. Father John, Joe, Brendan, Stephen McGuire, all the people that hold you in such high regard, and many that do that weren't there. Anyway, listen, what it does mean is we're facing into another general election, John, and it looks like it's going to be November 29th. Have you? Do you see anything that suggests otherwise?
No, because they've put out, well, the three party leaders yesterday put out numbers of options: the 21st, the 29th, and the 6th of December. Now, I can't imagine the 6th of December being a runner, because that's the night of the Late Late Toy Show. It's their biggest money spinner of the year. And I can't imagine David McCullough and the political editors of the national newspapers landing onto the set dressed up as Santa Claus and singing jingle bells. That's not on at all.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The 29th, the finance bill is to be published for the week after next, is it? Next week to have the break.
November 5th, yeah.
They're back on the 5th, 6th and 7th. And that has to go to committee. How long it's going to be there, we're not too sure. It's going to be a very top-heavy document this year, because there was a lot of money thrown into the mix in that last week. There was a couple of million thrown in there, and there's a whole lot of things to tease out there. I was just reading a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was in the Farmers Journal. There's a 400 grant per calf, which is rather odd. They doesn't specify whether it's for the farmer or for the breeder. Now, the breeder nowadays, new genetics, ways and means of trying to analyse, can we reduce the methane coming from the cows. So it's not specified which of them that's for. That's got to be ironed out, and probably 1,001 other things. So there'll be at least 2 fairly big days, I'd imagine, in the Finance Committee.
Yeah,
then it comes back to the floor of the Dáil then, and probably will get guillotined.
Yeah.
Or do they want that to happen? Because you see, they may be left with no option for that.
Well, if they get that over the line, the Taoiseach then heads to Arsenal Dron. He asks the President to dissolve the current Dáil. A new Dáil then cannot be elected until the previous Dáil has been dissolved, so that has to happen. And then there's a relatively short run in there, a 3 weeks general election campaign. So I suppose we'll talk locally in a moment, but let's talk nationally. Obviously, Simon Harris, his personal approval rating is very, very high since he took over from Leo Varadkar. His party's approval rating is very high as well. Fianna Fáil have shown some gains recently, but they're still nationally under 20%. And the latest poll showed Sinn Féin falling to 16%. So this close to the election, John, how does it play? How does it play out then? How do those numbers actually play out on the only poll that matters, and that's on November 29th, we suspect?
Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are going to be fine. They're going to be the two main parties in government by the looks of it. Sinn Féin has a lot of ground to make up there. You can't exactly rule that out because, you know, it's in that final week of the election campaign that all statistics shows that people make up their minds. Vast majority of them anyway. There's some people are going to vote the same regardless. But there's a magic figure of 88 to get to have a wafer thin majority of one single vote. I'm not too sure that they can achieve that. I'm not too sure that there are going to be strong enough other parties there. Is the Green Party going to face a wipeout? They got 12 seats the last time. They're not going to get those this time. Fine Gael has also the other problem that there's 18 people walking away, including Heather Humphreys. So there's a lot of ground to be made up there. Remember, they're on 24%. 24% is a vague enough idea. It's not even 20. It's not even a quarter of the vote. Fianna Fáil is something behind that, on 18 or 19%, and Sinn Féin is sitting there on 16%. Now, on that result for Sinn Féin, they would substantially see a reduction there, and they're in all kinds of difficulties. Sinn Féin has been under total siege for 2 full weeks. There's a lot of clarity missing out of there. I don't know why Brian Stanley's issue should be on the floor of the Dáil or anything like that there, you know. They made something of a mess out of the James McMonigal thing and the 2 press officers. That was a very live issue entirely. Again, it should have been dealt with, and it wasn't. You know, that lingered on for a very long time, and somebody inside Sinn Féin did not seem to have their eyes on the ball there, because those 2 senior press officers would have had to know what they were doing. Anyway, that's my presumption on it. So I expected the Sunday Times poll to see Sinn Féin much lower than the 16.
And of course, we've got the Senator O'Donnell story, which is ongoing. You know, I know, and particularly maybe Sinn Féin supporters might feel that the knives are out for Sinn Féin. And there's no doubt there's plenty of journalists that have been waiting on the wing, sharpening those knives for these types of controversies. But I think, would you think, that Sinn Féin have to take quite a bit of personal responsibility in relation to this? The handling of these various controversies has not been fantastic. I mean, Mary Lou McDonald's going to have to go into the Dáil now and correct the record. Now, she'll argue she had the information that she had. But when you're explaining you're losing, John, and whatever about maybe there being some sort of a, knives out for Sinn Féin, I think, or do you think they have to take a certain element of responsibility for this themselves?
Yeah. They have to. She made that very clear last night when it was revealed that the young fellow that Senator Donnelly had the text was 16 and not 17. So like there is a substantial difference. She has immediately taken the initiative there to ensure that she puts that on the record of the Dáil, probably when the Dáil sits today. Now, whether there's other clarifications needed there, you get this gut feeling that Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael and elements of the national media are going to do anything and everything to throw all the dirt that they can at Sinn Féin to keep them away from the cabinet room. Because if they can't get in there this time, they're in real bother. Mm-hmm. They would have to go through a total sea change over the next 5 years. Mary Lou McDonald will not be there by then. Of course, there's going to be major questions over her leadership. They may not want to hear that and they may not like that. But that's what I'm getting on the ground, that Mary Lou is probably at a point where she should be considering stepping aside. I suppose the big problem there, Greg, is that they don't really have anybody to put in her place. There's no obvious figure there. You know, like when she was the anointed one when Jerry Adams, you know, long before he went, Mary Lou, female, very strong voice, and sitting there in Dublin Central, won a huge vote. I mean, she's going to get. There would have been thoughts that she would take a second candidate in there this time round. I know the constituencies are all fairly well changed around, but Mary Lou MacDonald in Dublin Central, her seat is safe. There's no two ways about that there. But at the end of all that, you know, has she been there too long?
Well,
you know,
if we talk to sort of the attitude prior to these most recent controversies that haven't left the headlines, Sinn Féin was struggling, and they themselves had a meeting because they knew things were going wrong. They were looking at the polls. Some of it was to do with the referenda. Some of it was to do with comments which they say were misquoted, in that Mary Lou MacDonald said if the vote didn't go a certain way, they'd run the referendum again. Then there was what some would say is a bit of a flip-flopping on the migration issue. And then they've changed some of their attitudes and policies in relation to that. And I did put it to Pierce Doherty last week, and I don't think he disagreed with me when I said that for a long time people wanted change and they saw Sinn Féin as that change, but the same people I would speak to now sort of see Sinn Féin as the same as Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. And as I say, I think maybe Sinn Féin recognise that themselves to some extent, even though they would say they're miles apart in terms of policy and what have you. So the problems for Sinn Féin probably predate the recent controversies, which means there's a very steep hill to climb.
The problems for Sinn Féin, for me, began on the night of the Dublin riots and the subsequent handling of it, calling for the head of the Justice Minister. This was always going to be a bit of grandstanding, in that even though there's a Dáil vote that's going to win, that it makes no difference. They can't remove a sitting minister. Issues around that, calling for Drew Harris to resign, those were a very fickle 24 hours. And the damage done in the centre of Dublin that night ran into millions and millions, perhaps billions of euro. And people would be looking in at that there, and the next day seeing a picture of a vulnerable man being paraded around the Dáil by Louise O'Reilly. That would have raised a lot of concerns. I mean, thinking, you know, a couple of months down the road, 6-7 months down the road, is this the party that's going to be leading us? Are these people going to be senior ministers? Is this what we want here? Sinn Féin had cultivated and had a very big success for a number of years in trying to win over a big share of that middle ground in Ireland. That was very successful. That's why they were up on 37% of the vote 2 years ago, and now they're down at 16.
So
there's been a series of fault lines developing there, as if the real leadership were too concentrated on all these detailed policies and took their eyes off the ball. Now, just Paddy McLaughlin put it to me very succinctly when I interviewed him this night last week. He says there isn't a single member in our party that doesn't go into every week with their heart and soul 100% working for people. And the fact that they've been so demonised and crucified literally has come as quite a huge shock to them.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, where do you go from there? Because they do have good policies. They do have good policies on housing.
The obvious thing that you do, and Fine Gael did this quite successfully, is whether people like it or not, you change the leadership of the party, because then it becomes like a clean brush.
Absolutely, because, you know, what exactly has been different with the new leader?
So,
compared to Leo
John, I'm going to take
a very polished performer.
I'm going to take a break and come back, and we'll go through things locally. Just one question before we do, and maybe you can try and see if you can get that camera working in the meantime. What can, if anything, Sinn Féin do to close the gap and hope to be in power in this country after the general election?
Can probably do an awful lot. They must redouble their efforts to connect with the people, to connect with the electorate. I mean, Sinn Féin, for some reason, they're different to other parties. They had a convention out in Letterkenny, out in the Clanree there a number of weeks back. None of us knew about it. They're serving themselves no no useful purpose, because what comes in from an evening of that kind is not good enough compared to that. If you have a journalist there and a photographer that's going to put that out professionally, they made a bit of a hems out of that, you know. And it's not the first time that they've done that. So there seems to be hiding away from the media, from the public. There's a certain amount of uncertainty within the leadership of the party. I don't know if that's relevant in Donegal, but it is relevant nationally. But I mean, any party and every party that wants to get some traction, they're going to try and get as many of the media as possible and have as many photographers. I mean, there's no bother going to Fianna Fáil conventions or Fine Gael conventions or Aontu conventions or that kind of thing.
Right, okay. John, stay right where you are if you don't mind. Going to take a very short break, and we're going to be back with John McAteer and have a look at maybe the state of play here in Donegal ahead of what's expected to be now a general election on November 29th.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Sony Centre Letterkenny. From party speakers to TVs, cameras and camcorders, find it all at Ireland's only Sony store. Free deliveries on orders over €100. Visit sonycentre.ie today.
We're celebrating 125 years of Opel. And with a milestone like that, what better time to explore Opel's extensive award-winning range? Plus, if you order your 251 Opel now, we'll gift you with a €500 Dunn Stores gift card. Other than that, we've not much else to talk about. In fact, the percentage of time we're going to talk about finance offers, that would be 0%. Happy buy day to you. Find out more about our 251 offers at Manor Motors Opel. See manormotors.ie for details. T's and C's apply.
Ready to transform your smile? Discover the magic of Blue Poppy Dental in Letterkenny and Donegal Town. With implantologists, surgical and cosmetic dentists, orthodontists and an endodontist all under one roof, we've got all your dental needs covered. Starting your journey is easy. Call us on 074 91 20355 or book your appointment online anytime through our user-friendly patient portal at bluepoppydental.com. Blue Poppy Dental and Orthodontics, where smiles shine brighter.
Climate change is something we're all living with, and we can all take climate action. Right now, across the country, communities are doing just that. Whether it's reducing energy use at home, planting trees, taking the bus, or harnessing solar power in rural towns and villages. The more of us who get involved, the more we can achieve, because climate actions work. For information and resources, go to gov.ie/climate actions work. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Inside every bag of Gyprock Skim Coat, you would normally expect to find the finest quality Irish-made finished plaster. But for a limited time only, you could also discover a golden trowel worth €10,000 along with other cash prizes. Wouldn't that be grand? So grab a bag of Gyprock Skim Coat today, find the trowel and answer a question. Terms and conditions apply. Gyprock Skim Coat. We value our plasterers. For more information, visit www.gyprock.ie.
Get ready for an unforgettable night with the Whistling Donkeys live at the Pulse venue Letterkenny this Saturday, 26th of October. Doors open at 11 and it's pay at the door. Don't miss an incredible night at Pulse venue this Saturday with the Whistling Donkeys.
Okay, so far declared or have expressed their intention to run in the general election for Fine Gael, Nicky Bradley, John McNulty; for Fianna Fáil, Charlie McConnell, Pat the Coke Gallagher; for Aontu, Mary T. Sweeney; Pierce Doherty and Paul McLaughlin for Sinn Féin; Thomas Pringle Independent; the Irish People Party, Eamon McGee, Kim McMenamin, Jerry McKeever; and the 100% Redress Party, Charles Ward. So it's one big constituency, less a little bit of South Donegal, 5 seats, a lot to play for, John.
An awful lot to play for here because Joe McHugh is standing down. You have a new team, a new party, 100% Redress. Mike has been the dominant issue for the past 4.5 years, and you're going to have seats at play here. Fianna Fáil is going to be bidden to take 2 seats. I wouldn't rule that out. Sinn Féin, first of all, on 45% of the vote the last time round. They will take those 2 seats fairly comfortably. And I would always query whether it was why they couldn't get a third candidate in there, because I think that Donegal does things quite differently. Sinn Féin had a very strong local elections here. You know, their 10 seats were quite safe. Fianna Fine Gael is going to be interesting. John McNulty has a very strong campaign running in South Donegal and up into the Finn Valley, where he has a business based in Stranraer. He's spending a lot of his time here in this Mulford electoral area, and indeed I'm meeting him on Thursday. Interesting, you know, there's a whole new resurgence there in the Fine Gael organisation. I feel it locally here in Milford and in Letterkenny, and that they're uniting behind McNulty, and that he's pulling them together the way Joe McHugh did in 2002. You get that sense, you know, that they're actually out working on the ground. It's altogether different to the local elections, which was quite a balls altogether, you know, that they lost 5,000 votes. But McNulty will be in there. Thomas Pringle is always going to be in there. Remember that numbers of those, Charlie McConnell, Pat the Cope, Piers Doherty, Patrick McLaughlin, they're all fighting their fourth general election.
So
They're
really
very,
what
very
you're
experienced.
saying then is, well, who misses out then? Because, you know, you've said don't
You
rule
see-
out Fianna Fáil, electing 2, Sinn Féin are likely to get 2. Thomas Pringle is always there or thereabouts, and you fancy John McNulty, so...
Yeah, well, like you're going to have the 100% redress party in there. Charles Ward is pretty well placed right in the heart of Donegal there in the centre of it in the Finn Valley. But he would have to get a substantial vote. He would have to get the entire redress vote from Inishowen and from Letterkenny as well, you know. And that's a big ask. That's a very big ask because, you know, at the end of the day, people intend to stay quite local. I mean, do you think Inishowen wants to lose a senior minister and the Sinn Féin chief whip, who's a very experienced, hard-working TD? Those are issues that the Micah Redress group. It's not impossible, but it's not going to be an easy task. It's going to be completely different to the local elections.
Were you surprised at, I mean, obviously defective concrete is a problem that affects much of the county, but the epicentre is in Inishowen. The 100% Redress Party had candidates there that pulled in massive votes. So they're opting to run a candidate who ran the local elections outside of that epicentre, but also that didn't gather enough first preference, though doing himself proud, didn't gather enough first preferences to get elected. So can you understand the strategy there? Because what it could end up looking like is that it's not that big an issue altogether if they can't get someone over the line.
You see, as a new party, there's a lot of learning to be done here. There was talk at the AGM, and we had that covered, even though they didn't know that. The reality here was that they were talking about running 2 candidates, one in Inishowen and one in Letterkenny. That was never going to work because a candidate from Inishowen could never get elected without a decent vote in Letterkenny. Likewise, a candidate in Letterkenny could never get elected without a decent vote as well outside of the area, although the Letterkenny candidate can look further towards the Mulford area. But it is, as I understand it, Charles Ward was elected on a vote of the members present at that meeting. So you have to go with that. I mean, Charles Ward is a quite a good candidate. He's a good performer on the media. You've had him on there.
Yep, for sure.
He has a lot of experience in what he's doing. I think the question that you're asking is that based in the Finn Valley, is he away from the epicentre of the catastrophe in Inishowen and in Letterkenny? I suppose in a way he is. But really, if people who have affected with Micah down the years, if they want to elect their own candidate, then they would need to vote for Mr. Ward.
There are some that see this as sort of giving a pass to the government parties in that this could split the defective concrete vote, given the fact, of course, that, you know, Sinn Féin have promised bells and whistles, and it remains to be seen if that were to be delivered on. Strategically, though, do you have any issue with the strategy?
I do, from the point of view is that, as I said, that Charles Ward's base is away from the epicentre, where Micah has hit the hardest. I'm not saying it isn't hitting in the Mulford area or in the Finn Valley area or in the Glenties area, but Inishowen is the epicentre of it itself entirely. If like when you talk about the local elections as opposed to the general, you're talking about two different animals altogether, because local will stay very local, but here you are voting for politicians who are going to represent us in the Dáil for the next 5 years, and we talk about Fianna Fáil and the possibility that they're not going to have a seat in this constituency. That's rubbish. You have a strong minister there who has delivered a pile of money, but on a personal level, a minister can deliver very quietly and very efficiently. Just looking at the Fianna Fáil position, you know that they have 21.4%. They're 5% above a quota. They have 16,500 votes almost. Now there'll be some lost on the swings and gained on the roundabouts. You know, Pat the Cope's entry into it here by in the manner that he did, having gone through the convention and having got an overwhelming endorsement there. He's putting in a huge campaign. He's everywhere, almost at the same time.
So where does that Fianna Fáil vote go then, primarily?
I would say it'll be split pretty evenly. You know, Pat the Cope has a base in West Donegal. He will eat a bit into South Donegal and into the Finn Valley, where he would hope to get a substantial vote better than he did the last time. Charlie McConlogue will be looking to Letterkenny, to his own home base in Inishowen, and he'll be looking out towards Milford, where he got decent votes out here the last time. He got decent votes in Letterkenny. A senior minister, Greg, you're better with a senior minister than without one.
Yes, but that being said, there's no assurance that he's a senior minister after the next election either, is there?
I think he has to be.
Okay, so
it may not be in agriculture.
Okay, so if there, so in your view, Fianna Fáil 1 or 2 seats, and if it's one, who?
It will be McConlogue as the sitting minister.
Okay. Now I'm sure he would say no seat is safe. He doesn't want voter apathy.
No seat is safe.
None of the candidates do, but that's your opinion, right? So you're confident Sinn Féin get 2 elected, yes?
Given that kind of a vote there of 45%, it's going to take something to tumble that there, to almost take a miracle to tumble that. I mean, Pierce Doherty, 21,000, these are huge figures. Mm-hmm. 39,000 votes. They could lose 9,000 votes and walk in.
And so
there wouldn't be an issue there.
Right. Thomas Pringle, are you of the view that he'll be returned?
At this point, even though there's no election called yet and we haven't done an opinion poll, Thomas Pringle is a vote getter right across the constituency. He's sitting there on 5,500 votes or whatever. The last time he got a fantastic share out from the Sinn Féin of 2,800. That'll be there this time again to some extent and to some degree. Now we're talking with the information that we already have. We have 3 of the candidates from the last election. John O'Donnell on 4,735. We have Martin Harley on over 3,000, with Peter Casey on 1,150. You have almost 9,000 votes there. They're going to be in the mix. Now they can elect that bunch of votes on their own can elect a TD, but where do they distribute to? I would see Martin Harley's vote going almost exclusively to John McNulty. Peter Casey's vote will stay in Inishowen, and it will get distributed pretty evenly across that lower end of the constituency where he resides. John O'Donnell's 4,735 could be crucial. Based in Kilmacrenan, his vote was generally in the Milford area, a bit in Letterkenny, but not near enough. There would be a leaning there towards Pat the Cope. If Pat the Cope was to get a major share of John O'Donnell's vote, well, then he's going to be in the mix, and that's as simple as that there. And Pat the Cope is going to canvass every last vote right up to the close of polling. You can see that he's out everywhere.
Right. So then you're at this moment, as you say, you haven't done the polls yet. You're confident then that Thomas Pringle is elected. You believe Fine Gael have to be able to elect one person, and you believed that to be John McNulty. Nikki Bradley is going to be working very hard, of course, but she's indicated that she's going to do blended canvassing. I'm not sure if this county's ready for that at the moment. but that's her strategy. You would be old school, though. You believe you can't beat, whether it's in the media or not, you can't beat knocking on the doors. She is also going to knock on doors, don't get me wrong, but you would see that as a crucial part of this. If there are votes to be got from Fine Gael supporters,
look,
they want to
Greg,
see the whites of your eyes?
Definitely.
Right, okay.
There was 91 candidates in the local elections, and those candidates who got onto the most doorsteps were the ones that got the seats. Social media is a cosy enough notion that it's a very lazy way.
It's kind of overrated. It's kind of overrated with the demographics
totally
we're talking
overrated.
about.
People appreciate that they come and knock on your doorbell, whether you're in or whether they leave a message. You've got a footprint that they've been there. You look at that and you consider it. They may come back again. We saw that with Michael McClaffery's vote. You always see this with Michael Collins' vote. They're on the ground. They're there day and night, and they have a fair input on Highland Radio that with the local issues, and they go that extra mile. But there's going to be votes there that we have no idea where they're going. As I say, there's that package there of over 8,900 votes that will elect. It's 11.5%. You don't need 11.5% to get that last seat or that second last seat. But like at the end of the day, you're going to be depending on a fairly decent turnout. We can manage to. The last time we were up just under 63% on a Saturday vote, which wasn't a good idea, as it turned out. It was Leo Varadkar's idea. His first election as Taoiseach. The election before that in 2016, we were up on 65%. Those figures all count, because you could have 7,000-8,000 more people in Donegal to vote.
And who are they more motivated to vote for? In relation to the 100% Redress Party, obviously the entire party all over in Inishone and elsewhere will be saying vote Charles Ward, vote Charles Ward.
Yeah.
Okay, so he probably will do very well, but could he do well enough to win a seat?
This is the big
and who
question
does it impact most? If in Inishone, who would it impact most, Charlie McConnell or Padraig McLaughlin?
There's a school of thought there that it could impact both of them pretty equally, and Inishone would be determined to keep 2 TDs. Now, that is very, very possible. How likely it is at this point, we don't really know, because we've had no analysis on that. I mean, we're talking shop here, but based on our experience of sitting down in the Oral Leisure Centre year after year and night after night, and you absorb an awful lot of stuff without even having to think about it. But out and about, and I'm sure you're getting the same conversation as I am, what do you think is going to happen? You're on Highland Radio, you're bound to know what's going to happen. People will say to me in the Tribune, sure, you don't need to do an opinion poll. An opinion poll, the opinion poll that we do is a very, very big.
Well, it's far more thorough than, and this is not to slag any other polling agencies off. It's far more thorough than you might get from a national polling group. It takes into consideration the county, its population, and the sample figure is far in excess of I mean, you'll do a sample in Donegal that would be in excess of a sample that Red Sea might do on a national level.
Well, the average sample is in or around that 1,000 for up to 4 million voters. If you can imagine how complex that is. I know they have it highly analysed. They have a lot of experience in it. We do twice that sample for Donegal. And at the last election, our very first poll, which was about 265 votes, indicated Paddy Hart's seat, the father of the Dáil, that he would lose it, which he did. In 2016, we indicated that Padraig McLaughlin was going to lose his Dáil seat, which he did. We only saw one Fianna Fáil candidate getting elected, and the last time it was too close to call. So, like, going out amongst the people, we've been accused of standing on street corners like teddy boys.
Teddy boys.
All this mad stuff that goes on. But the vast majority of people are delighted to contribute to a poll.
Okay.
And like that's quite good, you know. And
all
like
right,
we're looking,
John.
like weather's the big thing.
Right, we must move on. Thank you so much for your time. I'm not sure I've pinned you down, but you're waiting on this poll. I'm not sure I've pinned you down of any surprises or any certainties, and I kind of wish I wanted to.
Well, I mean, there's a possibility of 2 surprises, 3 surprises. There's a possibility that 100% redress. They're starting into a campaign. They have a big job ahead of them, much bigger than they ever could imagine. There's the possibility that Pat the Cope could win that seat back, that Fianna Fáil could get 2 seats, and there's a possibility that John McNulty can come in there. Those are 3 surprises, and this is the very first morning of any debate about it. And I mean, if they're not big enough surprises, like that's obviously going to alter as the campaign gets. When we get an election date and you see the posters going up and people, there could be a total lack of enthusiasm this time.
It's possible Charlie McConalogue won't engage in a debate on this programme. Do you think that makes any difference? Will that make any difference to his chances?
I think that would be unfortunate if he didn't.
Of course it would be unfortunate, but I think his work on the ground and in the constituency and the various announcements he's been able to make, he probably can get away with it.
Yeah, but is that serving the electorate through local radio?
Oh, well,
I don't think
that's a wider debate. But
well, it's not a wider debate. I mean, there's no reason that he shouldn't go on there, whatever differences. I mean, I do have differences with about everybody in election campaigns, but then we're in a different medium. We're just not there in your face on the TV. We can just manage to bypass that through the newspaper. If Charlie McConalogue was asking my opinion, should he do a debate on it? He has everything to gain by doing that debate to increase his vote. If he doesn't do the debate, then he loses out on that call.
Okay.
But that's my view on it. That if you're offered the debate, a lot of people watching and listening, by all means, you're not going to get gutted. Or would you? I haven't much experience of these kind of things.
No, you'd be all right, John.
I would imagine that you're going to be fairly fair to everybody. You mightn't be everybody's cup of tea at a certain time. None of us are, Once you're in that business of commentating on elections and offering opinions, as you have to do, because there's something very special about the live debate,
Yeah.
And that's the immediacy of the thing and it's the urgency of the thing, and people can change their minds after watching that debate.
All right, John. Fascinating as always. Thank you so much of your time. I do appreciate it. We'll chat to you soon. John McAteer, of course, will be joining us for our election coverage. It wouldn't be the same without him, would it?
The 9 till noon show with Sony Centre Letterkenny. Check out their great range of TVs, headphones, speakers and cameras. Best deals guaranteed. Shop now at sonycentre.ie. Free delivery over €100.
Your GP is with you at every stage of your healthcare journey. From pregnancy care and baby vaccines to the most serious of conditions. Your GP is with you, providing continuous healthcare. Over 4,400 GPs in Ireland provide more than 20 million consultations annually. Your GP is with you, supported by the Irish College of GPs.
There's Monster Bingo tonight and every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford. €3,250 must go. Doors open at 7:30, bingo starts at 8:30. That's Monster Bingo tonight at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford.
The effects of personal debt problems often go beyond just financial. What we don't want to face can cause us to unravel. Stress eats at you, relationships unwind. It can feel like life's falling apart, but support is available. Get back on track with the Insolvency Service of Ireland, an independent organisation that helps untangle personal debt problems. See backontrack.ie, supported by the Government of Ireland.
From family road trips to weekend getaways, start your adventures with a new Ford in 2025. The Ford 251 sales event runs from the 1st to the 16th of November. We have incredible savings across our range, with up to €4,000 off the new Kuga plug-in hybrid, plus more savings on the new Puma and the new all-electric Explorer. Ford Options PCP customers also have 0 reasons to miss this event. Discover all our 251 offers at Ford.ie. T's and C's apply. Offer ends November 16th.
Calling all self-builders and rebuilders. Are you looking to build an A-rated energy-efficient home? Join Castle Forms for a free information day this Saturday at the Clanry Hotel, Letterkenny from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Discover their quick and cost-effective ICF walls and insulated foundation systems. Castle Forms Construction Systems, the future of tradition.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. If you haven't started using the McElhinney's Layaway Club, it's not too late. Spread the cost of Christmas with designer gifts for the whole family. Available by phone or in store at McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
Okay, so the weather forecast: any mist and fog will clear to leave a mostly dry day today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells along with just a few showers. Temperatures 12 or 13 degrees. We're going to take a break for the news and obituary notices, but don't go anywhere. We're back right thereafter with Community Garda Information. That's all on the way.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by Sony Centre Letterkenny. Discover the best in tech, TVs, soundbars, noise cancelling headphones, mirrorless cameras and more. Best deals guaranteed. Shop in store or at sonycentre.ie.
You are the heart of your farm. Your fields, your livestock, your family all depend on you. But to take care of them, you need to take care of yourself. Free health checks are coming to marts and events near you, making it easy to look after your health. Prioritise your health today. Visit ifa.ie/health check for more details. Because you are the heart of your farm. This is an IFA initiative supported by CRE and funded by the Department of Agriculture.
Running a business isn't easy, but accessing support should be. The new National Enterprise Hub is the single source for all government support for your business. With over 180 supports in one place, it's easier than ever to find grants, advice, training and more. And don't worry about not knowing what you need. Our helpful team will guide you every step of the way. Visit neh.gov.ie to learn how we can help. The National Enterprise Hub. Support starts here, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Ensure the safety of your team with SafeTech. We have part-funded courses in first aid, people moving and handling, confined spaces, food hygiene, quad bikes, fire warden, iPath MUPS, electrofusion, welding and machinery cards for Ireland and UK sites. Also delivering online courses like utilities, water hygiene and construction supervisors. SafeTech can deliver group training at your business premises. To find out more, contact safetech.ie today.
Tony usually hates her morning commute, but something is different today. Tony has a grin brimming from ear to ear and an uncontrollable urge to tap her toes. You see, she just switched to 48 Mobile, so she now gets unlimited data for $12.99 a month and feels like the smuggest person on the bus. 48 Mobile. Good call. T's and C's apply. See 48.ie. $12.99 one-time activation fee. Unlimited data applies to ROI only, subject to coverage.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The Taoiseach is refusing to name the exact date for the general election, but says he knows the day he wants. The three coalition leaders met last night and agreed that the election will take place before Christmas, but they haven't named the day. Speaking before the weekly cabinet meeting this morning, Simon Harris confirmed it will be a Friday, but he wouldn't say which one.
I have a fair idea when the general election is going to be. In fact, I have a very good idea, but obviously the finance bill does need to be passed. That requires, and I don't take this for granted at all, the work of the Oireachtas, and that's not entirely within our control. The finance bill deserves proper scrutiny and work, and that needs to happen as well. So, let's get the finance bill sorted.
Meanwhile, Green leader Roderick O'Gorman has repeated he would like to see the general election held on Friday, November 29th.
That's what I said publicly last week, and that's the date I suggested as a preference for myself and the Green Party when we met yesterday, but recognising it's the ultimate call for the Taoiseach.
2 young children have been traumatised after a firework was thrown at them in Buncrana. The Cathaoirleach of Inishowen Municipal District is now appealing to parents to ensure their children aren't being sold these devices. Councillor Jack Murray says while the children were fortunate to have escaped physical harm, they were left very frightened after the firework exploded in between them. He added Halloween should be a joyous occasion for everyone and expressed hope that this was an isolated incident.
Check if your children may have fireworks. Check if they're spending their lunch money on fireworks, and remind them just of the dangers of these, which are small explosives really. So look, this was a near miss this time, but obviously those children are very, very traumatised by it. They're very scared, and the mother's very, very shaken by it too. So hopefully this will be the last of these incidents, just if we can create as much awareness of that.
Safety concerns for parishioners at St Angus's Church in Burt have been raised at a meeting of Inishowen Municipal District. Councillor Paul Canning says people attending weddings and funerals are regularly forced to walk on the road due to there not being a footpath between the chapel and Greenan Hotel. Councillor Canning says that's compounded by the fact that cars park along the road edge, leaving pedestrians open to oncoming traffic. He says it's an issue that must be addressed.
My idea is to put the traffic out that wee bit more and put a small footpath, continue the footpath that is there, take it the whole way to the Greening Hotel, and that will allow people to walk on the inside of the cars away from the traffic. It's a no-brainer, and I think the TAI seriously needs to look at that.
A Donegal Sports Club has made a public appeal after its equipment storage facility was destroyed by Storm Ashley. Kincashla Rowing Club shared images online of their cabin, which has been left in ruins following the extreme weather over the weekend. They're now seeking a vacant unit to house their equipment and ensure the survival of the club. And a search operation is being carried out at a house in County Louth today as part of the investigation into the disappearance of Karen Dernan. The child, who would now be 8, is missing, presumed dead. With more, here's Barry White.
Karen Dernan was reported missing at the end of August. However, following new information, Gardaí last week said the case was upgraded to murder. Gardaí now say they took possession of a house in Dundalk yesterday on foot of a district court order. The house, garden and grounds adjoining the property will be searched, and technical and forensic examinations will also be carried out. Gardaí say the purpose of these searches are to discover any evidence which might provide them with information as to what happened to Kieran. Meanwhile, a grandmother of Kieran has appealed for information on him or his whereabouts on social media. Gardaí are also continuing to appeal to anyone who has information in connection with the disappearance of Kieran. Barry White in Dundalk, County Louth.
Mostly dry today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells along with a few showers. Top temperatures 12 to 14 degrees Celsius. Mostly light southwest breezes freshening near coasts in the west of the region during the evening. Dry tonight with clear spells at first, getting cloudy in places as the night goes on. Some mist and fog patches will develop in overnight lows of 5 to 8 degrees Celsius. Mostly light to moderate southerly breezes, fresher in western coastal areas. A good deal of cloud around tomorrow. Some limited hazy sunny spells. A fair amount of dry weather, but there will be some patchy rain and drizzle. Becoming breezier though through the day in top temperatures on Wednesday of 13 or 14 degrees Celsius. That's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines at 11. Check all of today's news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notices this Tuesday morning, October 22nd. The death has taken place of Cathal Dunleavy, Mean Talk, Glenvar. Remains are reposing at his residence. Funeral to arrive at St Mary's Star of the Seed Church, Glenvar, for funeral mass at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, followed by burial in the adjoining cemetery. Rosary at 9 o'clock. The death has taken place of Patsy O'Neill, 3 Convent Road, Letterkenny, and formerly from Lower Main Street, Letterkenny and Newton Cunningham. Patsy's remains are reposing at his late residence today from 12 noon until 10 p.m, with Rosary at 9 p.m. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in Conwall Cemetery. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if desired, to the MS Society, care of any family member. The death has occurred of Monica Long, Hilltop, Carrick, McGrath, Ballybuffet, reposing at her late residence. Removal from her late residence tomorrow morning at 10:15 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Session Neil at 11 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish YouTube channel. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, to CCU, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Janet Elizabeth Leaper, Galdonna Manor, Cunningham, formerly of 12 Catholic Lane, Sedgley, West Midlands, England. Her remains are reposing at her home. House private, please, to family, friends and neighbours. Funeral leaving her home this afternoon at 1:30 for 2 p.m. funeral service in Ray Presbyterian Church, with burial afterwards in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if desired, to Medical Aid, Letterkenny University Hospital, care of Terence McClintock, Funeral Director. The death has occurred of Roseanne McKinney ní Fullerton Nipper, the Big House Ballymaggan, Buncrana. Roseanne's remains are reposing at her home. Funeral tomorrow morning, leaving for 10 a.m. for 11 a.m. Mass in St Mary's Church, Cockhill, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. The death has taken place of Mary McLaughlin, St Joseph's, Glenealy. Mary's remains are reposing at her home. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for 11 a.m. funeral mass in St Mary's Church, Bocken, followed by interment in Bocken Graveyard. Funeral mass can be viewed on cooldaghparish.com. Family time from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to St Mary's Church, Bocken Restoration Fund, care of any family member or Eamon McLaughlin, funeral director. The death has taken place of Martin Davis, 31 Marion Park, Buncrana. Requiem Mass is ongoing at St Mary's Oratory. Burial afterwards in Cockhill Cemetery. The death has occurred of Ronan O'Reilly, Main Street, Newton Forbes, Longford and Dunfanaghy, Donegal. Reposing in Connell's Funeral Home, Church Street, Longford, this evening from 6 p.m. until 7:30. A celebration of Ronan's life will take place in Lakelands Crematorium, Cavan, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. The death has occurred of Marina Thompson, 3 Lennon View, Ramelton. A prayer service in Letterkenny Funeral Home at 11 a.m. this morning, followed by interment in St Columbkille's Churchyard, Glenalla. House is strictly private. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio. Forests are more important than ever. Quilcha manages its forests sustainably to help combat climate change, to supply wood for building homes, to protect habitats for nature, and to provide beautiful places for people to enjoy. That's why Quilcha is developing outstanding visitor destinations, like Beyond the Trees Avondale, and creating more recreational forests in communities all over Ireland. Quilcha, forests for climate, nature, wood and people, for a greener future for all.
Okay, these are comments coming in from you, the listener at home, as to how you think things might play out after the general election or during it, and other matters as well. A caller says, I think Pádraig McLaughlin will have a fight to hold on to his seat while Charlie McConlogue will be safe. But I'm sure both want to motivate voters to come out. They want to avoid apathy. Pat the Cope Gallagher will walk in. No problem, says the listener. If the weather and day is bad of election, winter time, will there be a 50% turnout? It's hard to know. I don't know how much of an influence the weather has on it, but you can have a dire day in the summer as well. As a person with defective blocks in my home, I see no point in voting for an independent candidate for the 100% redress because he will be ineffective as a lone person and change will be needed in numbers. I don't see Charlie McConlogue as a media-friendly candidate, so he doesn't engage in debate, only in good news stories which suit him, they claim. In relation to that, I'm sure Minister McConlogue would say he's doing an awful lot of work on the ground, and I'm sure from a 100% redress perspective, you know, there are opportunities for independents to support a government if they can get what they want. You know, there's bargaining there, so I wouldn't say it's necessarily completely ineffective. I watch news a lot, says the listener. I cannot understand how a candidate like Pat the Cope can lay claim to work while not a member of the Dáil. It's ridiculous and shouldn't be allowed. Again, as I say, I don't want to comment on every individual candidate, but there are many people that believe that Pat the Cope Gallagher has been as busy as a TD, even though not elected. But another says Pat the Cope Gallagher isn't even elected yet. He was on the news yesterday talking about the new housing development in Castlefin. Pat has been around for the block a few times and has been elected before. He's getting on. A new younger candidate should have been allowed to run. It's the party's decision. They don't dictate, I don't believe. In relation to that, you know, what you will see is candidates having a platform now, right? So if you are an official candidate, all media will take on board what they have to say. Everyone's entitled to equal access. Let me see. Last sting in the tail from an outgoing minister. How rotten, losing the most vulnerable and letting civil servants away with squandering millions. That's in relation to the potential €90 cut to people's payments if they don't engage with social welfare. Hi, Greg. Could you ask your guest what impact he feels the combination of the ongoing scandals within Sinn Féin, with allegations of smear campaigns against TDs by the party, senior members sending inappropriate texts to children, will have on Pádraig McLaughlin, given he's the chief whip? Not to mention the pushing of a policy which will allow children to take children to court, where parents refuse to consent to a gender change. I'm not sure about that. And the constant flip-flopping on issues, and the introduction of the 100% redress party. What effect will this have on Pádraig McLaughlin? That was kind of touched, not exactly how you phrased it. Charlie McConlough's bringing serious money and funding into the county. This is what voters will look at when the election comes. Charlie does engage in interviews on Highland Radio via the news. John is doing his best to defend Sinn Féin here, I think. They've more than blotted their copybook, John. They deceived the public by trying to hide their skeletons in the closet. They weren't long jumping on the church bashing bandwagon themselves. On Facebook too, John said, it's batter Sinn Féin this morning again. God help Mary Lou. Well, we tend not to actually batter anyone. It's no interest. It's far easier to be as fair as you can be than it is to actually be biased one way or other. And we try and be as fair as we want. And I think our assessment and conversation about Sinn Féin is only highlighting the issues they themselves have recognised and their handling of it. In some cases, they've recognised that perhaps it hasn't been the best. In other areas, they've defended how they've handled things. It's just an open conversation about that party. I don't think there's any bashing going on. There certainly is bashing going on in the national press in some quarters. But it's something I certainly wouldn't be engaged in, bashing anyone. November 29th is Black Friday. No one out voting. Hi, Greg. Any person would vote this government back into power would need their heads checked, and especially the Donegal people, their houses falling down around them. This government has the country destroyed. I'm hoping they're wiped out big time. Let me see what else have I got here. Greg, what an outstanding journalist is Mr. McAteer. The man has a mind of no other political journalist half his age. Thank you, John. That comes in from Oshin. When I graduated from Carysfort Training College in 1960, we had to give a guarantee that we would teach in Ireland for at least 5 years. Otherwise, we had to pay back our training fees. And that's an answer to a question I put out there at the start of the show, because it's a conversation happening elsewhere. You know, our best and brightest are qualifying from their courses and often heading straight away on a plane. Not literally, but you know what I'm saying. Whilst we have a massive shortage in nurses and teachers and what have you. And the question was, and that listener answered it, should there be a minimum term one has to serve, their trade in this country, if they are educated using any state resources. I was in Letterkenny yesterday to see the consultant about my heart. I was there because I have an abnormality. I was told that unless you're showing symptoms, you won't see the consultant under a new HSE directive. I beg your pardon. For some people, by the time they show symptoms, it's too late. Now, is that just one person's experience? I've no reason to doubt it, or have other people come across that as well? Another here. Do you know when you hear someone on the radio a lot but don't know what they look like? Well, I'm not on social media by choice, for me. One of them was John McAteer. When he spoke, I pictured the broadcaster George Hook. He looks nothing like him. When I seen him celebrating his birthday, I can now picture the right face. That's my story. Thanks very much for that. Yeah, indeed. I think there was a time, and I remember as a radio listener, and I've always been a radio listener back in the day, whereby you didn't know what Jerry Ryan looked like early in his career, or Larry Gogan, or Simon, whatever his name was, can't remember his name. But you know what I'm on about, because you only ever heard them on the radio, and there wasn't much coverage of them in the paper. But I suppose there's less of that now with social media. I think most people know people that they hear on a regular basis, what they look like, or if not, they're curious and go and have a look. Obviously, this listener wasn't on social media by choice, or isn't. Didn't know what John McAteer looked like, but saw pictures of him presumably celebrating his 80th. Yeah, interesting. But as I say, that's almost like a thing of the past, isn't it? Not knowing what someone on the radio looks like, because as I say, often they're plastered all over social media.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday, the 22nd of October. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S12. It's game number 43. The numbers are 6, 39, 46, 53, 16, 64, 40, 12, 62, and finally 77. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Running a business is never easy. That's why the National Enterprise Hub is focused on helping businesses access a wide range of government supports. We spoke to Conor O'Donovan, the head of the National Enterprise Hub, about the new free service.
The National Enterprise Hub is a new all-of-government service. It was designed to make it much easier for businesses from right across the country to access supports that they might be eligible to from across the government system. It's both digital and over the phone. It brings together over 230 supports from 24 different government agencies. And the whole idea is to put the business owner at the centre of the journey. We've made it really simple to access the supports online, but we've also got 6 people in our HQ in Dublin who are available to answer calls and take business owners through the steps to help them understand what they might be eligible for.
To engage directly with an advisor for support, visit neh.gov.ie or phone 01 727 2100.
Cursteach hervisí cheadúnis fólamóide agus tamána líne, lena náritar anúchan ústáú málartú agus ahollathair. Tá sé éasca agus is féidir dhéanamh gan stró. Tuair cuairt an Seirbhís Náisiúnta cheadúnis tamána líne in jobhag ndls.rsa.ie. Mai go bhaidí dzebna a tastal, teachtracht an údarás havaltocht Wody.
The 9 till noon show with Sony Centre Letterkenny, Ireland's only Sony store, offering the best deals guaranteed. TVs, soundbars, headphones, cameras, party speakers and much more. Shop in-store or online at sonycentre.ie.
The Community Garda Information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91-26025.
And you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. And it is that time of the week for Community Garda Information. It's 10:20 on this Tuesday, the 22nd of October. And our guest this week, delighted to welcome back into studio, Garda Claire Rafferty from the Milford Garda Station. Thanks, Claire.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you with us. Right, Claire, that microphone, sorry, just pull it down a little bit closer to you. That might be my fault. Perfect. We've an awful lot to get through, a lot of criminal damage instances and much more besides. So we'll start with an appeal as it relates to a road traffic collision, if that's okay, Claire.
Yeah, so we're investigating this one that occurred at Ballynacore Crossroads on Sunday afternoon, just gone there, the 20th of October. It happened at approximately 12:40 p.m. The drivers of both vehicles, a male and a female, were taken to Letterkenny University Hospital to receive treatment for non-life-threatening injuries. So we're appealing to anyone who may have travelled on the Ballyfage Crossroads Road around that time who had a dash cam to make the footage available to us. And if anyone actually witnessed the collision itself, we ask them to make contact with Garda in Letterkenny. And the phone number there is 074 9167 100.
A burglary being investigated in Donegal town.
Yeah, so the Garda in Ballyshannon are asking for information on this one. It occurred at a vacant house in the area of Orbeg, Donegal town, between Tuesday the 1st of October and Tuesday the 15th of October. So there is a 2-week time there. The glass was removed from the front door frame of the house in order to gain entry. Now, nothing was stolen from the property, but we are appealing to residents in that area to make contact with Gardaí in Ballyshannon on 071 9858 530 if they observed any suspicious activity between those dates, or alternatively the Garda confidential line's always there, 1800 666 111.
Next, it's to Letterkenny, and it's one of those that we hear about occasionally, but rarely, it seems, where there's a burglary of an occupied house.
Yeah, you know, this one can be a bit more alarming when someone finds someone within their house, so we're appealing for information. In relation to it, it happened in the Glendale Drive, Glencar, Letterkenny area on Tuesday the 15th of October between approximately 7:45 p.m. and 8 p.m. So a resident was in the house, they were upstairs and they heard something in the downstairs kitchen. Some kind of rummaging around noise is what they heard. When they went downstairs, they discovered that there had been an intruder as they had left the back door wide open. Again, nothing was stolen from the house, but if you observed any suspicious activity or people on foot in that area during that short time frame between 7:45 and 8 o'clock on Tuesday the 15th, please give us a call with any information that you can there to Letterkenny.
Okay, heading to Buncrana now, and an incident of criminal damage.
Yeah, so they're investigating this one that happened at a house in Lissowan Avenue, Buncrana, on Tuesday the 15th of October. Now, I have an approximate time here of 11:18 p.m. A rock was thrown through the kitchen window of the house, causing it to smash. So we wish to speak to anyone who may have travelled in the area between 11 p.m. and 11:30 p.m. with a dash cam, or if anyone can assist our investigation with any relevant information, we ask them to contact Buncrana Garda Station on 074 93 205 40.
And with this case and the next case you're going to mention, there's going to be no excuse for this type of activity, but you wonder if the people responsible aren't aware that there could be a toddler in that kitchen. In the next case, there could be someone lying on a couch under a window. We could be talking about very, very serious injury here, which does lead us on to a second criminal damage incident in Buncrana.
Yeah, so it's similar again, and this one occurred on Wednesday the 16th of October between midnight and 3 p.m. at a house in St. Columba's Avenue in Buncrana. At some point during that time frame, the front living room window at the address was smashed. So, as you said, it's a random act of vandalism, but it could have consequences to anyone that might be inside. So we're appealing to anyone who may have observed suspicious activity in the area or who may be able to assist us with information to give Buncrana a call, please.
Yeah, and lots of people might have, Ring doorbells or whatever it might be, or external security cameras that could help in this investigation, because you never know whose window it could be next. Criminal damage again, this time targeting a business.
Yes, so this was a business at Lower Main Street, Letterkenny, in the early hours of Saturday, so essentially Friday night, the 19th of October, between 12:50 a.m. and 4 a.m. The front window of the premises was smashed between those times. If anyone, for example, a taxi driver who may have been parked in the location, or anyone at all that might have dashcam early that morning, we ask them to please make the footage available to us, and the Gardaí in Letterkenny can be contacted again on 074 9167 100.
All right, damage to a car down in Killybegs quite recently, actually.
Yeah, so Ballyshannon Gardaí are seeking information on this one. It occurred at Emerald Drive, Killybegs, between 6 p.m. on Saturday the 19th of October and 5:30 a.m. on Sunday the 20th of October. So this car was parked at the location and it was keyed from the front to the rear, the passenger side. Between those times there was substantial damage caused as a result. So if anyone observed any suspicious activity again in that area between those times, or if they can assist with our investigation, please contact Ballyshannon on 071 985 8530.
Yeah, back further north now to Kilmacrennan, and investigations ongoing into a theft incident there.
Yeah, so this one occurred at a Lister in Kilmacrennan between 3 p.m. on Monday the 14th of October and 6:30 p.m. On Sunday the 20th of October. A yard was entered and 2 sets of digger track pads were stolen from within it. One set of these were 78 by 40 centimetres and the other was 88 by 70 centimetres. So bearing in mind this kind of item, transport such as a van or a trailer would likely have been required to remove the items from the yard. So we appeal to residents in the area to make contact with us if they observed any suspicious vehicles or activity in the area between those dates. And as always, should anyone come across similar items for sale on a second-hand basis, we'd ask them to make us aware. So it's ourselves out in Milford investigating this one. So you can give us a ring on 074 915 3060.
Yeah, and it might not have seemed suspicious at the time, but retrospectively, having heard that appeal, it might make more sense. And Gardaí keen for that information there, of course. Right, okay, theft in Kerrykeele now.
Yeah, we got a report yesterday in relation to this one, and it was the theft of 4 Renault tractor front weights, 36 to 38 kgs each, and 6 Massey tractor weights, which are 46 kg each. And they were taken from a yard in the area of Gortcally, Kerrykeele, between August 20th and October 21st. We appeal to anyone who may be able to assist with relevant information to make contact with us in Milford. Again, 074 915 3060. And again, transport would have been required. I know there's a big time frame there, but if something sticks out in someone's head, let us know. And again, if you've seen similar things for sale.
Now, obviously, we've had and it's not just this week. In previous weeks, now we've seen yards entered into, farm yards being targeted or what have you. So perhaps maybe on construction and houses and empty properties. So there's something going on there. There's a trend in cases. So I suppose a bit of advice in that regard.
Absolutely. We'd ask anyone involved in the likes of construction or farming to conduct a review of their security measures that they currently have in place. Ensure that tools and machinery of a high value are locked away and that there is adequate lighting in place. The use of cameras should also be considered. It can be a great deterrent. We also ask members of the public to always contact Gardaí immediately if they observe any type of suspicious activity or vehicles in the area. Even if you're not sure if it's fine, we'll check it out and there's no issue.
You're not bringing any aggro on anyone who's just going about their business?
Not at all, no. So Sergeant Fergus McGrory, who's the Divisional Crime Prevention Officer, is available to advise in relation to security measures should anyone wish to speak to him. He can be contacted in Letterkenny Guard Station 074 916 7100.
Right, a reappeal now in relation to an assault.
Yeah, so we wish to reissue this appeal. It happened at Main Street, Balbafay, in the early hours of Sunday, the 21st of April 2024. Now, we're talking about 1:30 a.m. The incident occurred near the junction for Glenfin Street. A man was assaulted by another man at that location, and the injuries sustained were serious but not life-threatening. The man being sought by us in connection with the incident has been described as being in his early 20s, wearing a quarter-zip top, and he had dark hair. So it might spring to mind to people because there was a large crowd out socialising on the night in question as the Donegal Derry game had been played on Saturday the 20th. So hopefully that might jog a few memories. If you witness this or you have any information about it, please give Letterkenny Gardaí a ring.
Yep, and that's 9167100. Right, we are heading into a bank holiday weekend, which of course we know is a more dangerous time on our roads. There's lots of variables as well, because since the last appeal, we've got darker mornings, darker evenings, and there could be some activity with people out and about and what have you. So what's your advice to us, Claire?
Well, as you say, it usually brings a higher volume of traffic on the roads, and with that comes an increased risk of collisions. So we ask all road users to please use the roads responsibly. Especially drivers are urged to slow down, wear your seatbelt, ensure your passengers are wearing their seatbelts, not to drive while under the influence of alcohol and or drugs. And another one that there seems to be a lot of problems with too, do not use or hold your mobile phone while driving. Remember, if you've been drinking, you may not be safe to drive the morning after, so it's not worth risking it. Stay at home, don't do it. Always be on the lookout for cyclists and pedestrians and drive at a safe speed. Just a reminder too that the clocks will change on Sunday, October 27th, and that means that we'll be facing into the darker evenings and darker mornings. So please remember, if you're out and about, to wear a high visibility vest if going walking, running or cycling.
I don't want to do any sort of judgment stuff, but it does amaze me these mornings, there's a lot, especially more rural parts of the county, but not exclusively, the amount of school traffic and lots of kids fleeting from cars to buses and all this type of stuff and sitting with their headlights on, and drivers can't necessarily see what's going on. And no coats, but that's besides the point, but no high vis either. Like, it's pitch black, and it's just at that time in the morning where everyone's up and out and that stuff. It's just so important that if you're on the road, even fleetingly, to have a high vis on, because it's the difference between life and death, or very serious life-changing injury.
Absolutely. Everyone has a responsibility here. It's not just up to drivers to see these people. It's up to ourselves and parents to take the measures to make sure that people are seen as well.
Yeah, and Garda, as you mentioned, out on the road, high visibility checkpoints and some not so high visible speed checks. And really, it's in our hands to avoid us waking up following the weekend and be faced with that email or that news report that talks of a tragedy on our roads. We can, for the most part, hopefully avoid that. Right, we're coming up to Halloween as well, and this creates its own sort of set of issues.
Yeah, well, it's something you touched on in the news as well. Halloween is getting close, and we don't want anyone to be frightened by or injured by fireworks. So we urge anyone who's thinking about buying or using fireworks to have a rethink. Many horrific life-changing injuries are sustained at Halloween and during the run-up to it every year, and it's by fireworks. So fireworks are not only dangerous, but there are also severe criminal penalties for anyone who is found guilty of the offences. For example, igniting an illegal firework, throwing an ignited firework at a person or property, or possession of illegal fireworks for sale or supply. The penalties are fines of up to €10,000 and 5 years imprisonment. So we're asking anyone that comes across fireworks for sale or any type of antisocial or illegal behaviour in the run-up to Halloween, we ask them to please alert us immediately. We've got 24/7 Garda stations, and I'll give you the numbers again for all them. So Letterkenny can be contacted on 074 916 7100, Milford 074 915 3060, Buncrana 074 93 20540, or Ballyshannon on 071 9858530. And always, in an emergency, ring 999 or 112. We hope that Halloween and the run up to it is enjoyable and safe for everyone, both on and off the roads.
All right, and the story Claire referenced on the news, 2 young children traumatised after a firework was thrown at them in Buncrana, a very serious crime. We're going to be speaking to the mother of those children just to sort of understand how traumatic it was for them. Claire, on a lighter note, if you were dressing up for Halloween, what might you dress up as?
I'd have to be a witch.
I'll say nothing about that because you are a guard and probably have handcuffs and stuff. All right then, listen, thanks very much, Claire.
Thank you.
That is Garda Claire Rafferty from the Milford Garda Station. That was Community Garda Information. It's back for you next Tuesday, of course, and you can listen back to it on the podcast or rewatch it on our socials or the Garda socials a little later on today.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Sony Centre Letterkenny. From party speakers to TVs, cameras and camcorders, find it all at Ireland's only Sony store. Free deliveries on orders over €100. Visit sonycentre.ie today.
Milford Tiles, Milford Retail Park. Tiles, bathware and wood flooring. The best quality and value in the Northwest. Fully stocked and ready to go. Fitters and delivery available. 10% off for Mica affected customers. Don't forget to ask about our 5-day bathroom fit out. Call Milford Tiles on 083 091 0707.
For an efficient, mild hybrid system that doesn't compromise on the joy of driving, test drive the Mazda CX-30. This compact, stylish SUV comes with fuel-saving Mazda M hybrid technology and a 6-year warranty. Test drive the 251 Mazda range at McGinley Motors, Letterkenny. Mazda, crafted in Japan.
Bogamid Fuinev na Héireann. Trícheann na líon rí gás is nua aimseras in Europe. A cór an Fuinev atá tastal wet fáil inniu fud na tíre. Agus anis tá Fuinev na Héireann á bhoga aghainn bhealach nua. Ag tuairt faoin sí níos inmhúnathe isteach sa fíbliana. Gas Networks Ireland. moving Ireland's energy.
Nutria's Lamb Finisher ATP is now on promotion at your local Homeland. Buy 10 bags and get one free, or get €15 off per tonne in bulk. Nutria's Lamb Finisher ATP contains 16% crude protein for an ideal balance of energy and protein, with intake booster for faster finish. T's and C's apply. Contact your local Homeland or farm commercial specialist today. Visit nutrias.ie for full product details.
Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure, your football store. Football boot sale now on. Save up to 40% off. Puma Future 7 boots only $49.99. Save €40. The ground is soft. Try a pair of soft ground football boots. Adidas F50 or Adidas Gloro SG with a fold-over tongue. Score a goal with our new range of football boots in-store and online. bmcsports.ie. Our Christmas club is now open.
All right. Do you have a small to medium-sized business? Are you owner, manager, or have staff within your organisation interested in using artificial intelligence, or in fact who are currently responsible for artificial integration? We have an event that you might be interested in. It's being hosted by Letterkenny Chamber member Fintru. They're extending a warm welcome to local businesses to join them at the new Letterkenny office. Catherine Harkins, Executive Director, Head of AI at Fintru. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. You are... I can't hear you, actually. I wonder, is that me or you? Can I... No, you're not muted. Hello, can you hear me, Catherine? You can hear me, but can I hear you?
Yes, can you
yes,
hear me?
I have you now.
Yeah, good morning,
Excellent.
Greg.
I hope that wasn't AI responsible for switching your microphone on, was it?
No, it was just me not taking myself off mute.
We're trying to... Well, AI might help us avoid some human error. No, I'm only joking. Right, talk to us about Fintru.
Yeah, so Fintru was founded in 2013. It's a multi-award winning company that works in the financial services space. So we create technology-enabled solutions for the lifecycle management process. Our customers at present are some of the world's leading global financial institutions, and we have expertise across processes like know your customer, compliance, legal, risk, and really it has grown quite significantly in the last 10 plus years. So we now have a workforce of 1,400 people, and they're spread across offices in Belfast, in Derry, Letterkenny, London, New York, and Porto. And of course, our Letterkenny office has only recently opened there on the Port Road. We had the grand opening a few weeks ago.
Okay, so there's, obviously ongoing conversations about artificial intelligence in different ways in terms of how it can be integrated into people's lives and so on and so forth. But business is somewhat ahead of that conversation, and AI is, actively used in many businesses very successfully. And I think we're getting to a point, or if we're not already at it, Catherine, whereby if you are a business where it would suit and you aren't integrating it into that business or aren't availing of it, that you are a step behind your competitors. Would you see it that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, all of us have kind of seen how quickly artificial intelligence has become part of our lives, our everyday lives. We all have our smartphones in our pockets, your Alexas and in your homes. We're using AI when we don't even know that we're using it. When we've got the recommendation type offerings through Netflix, or the ads that pop up on your social media, etc. All those are targeted towards you personally, based on your behaviors. And likewise, businesses too are starting to determine how they can use AI, what its advantages are, what the risks are. And, it doesn't come without its risks, but certainly, we need to understand what the potential is, how we can use it safely and responsibly in order for it to give the benefits to businesses, where it can automate certain tasks, make them more efficient, allow them to provide a better customer experience, where they're actually personalizing what they offer to their customers, giving customers what they need before they even know what they need themselves. So it has a lot of advantages, and I think some of the large companies, you're right, they have been on their AI journey for many years. I've been working in this space since 2017. However, some of the smaller, medium-sized enterprises may not even know where to get started. They may feel that they're, that they're afraid in terms of, how they use it safely, etc. So this event is really about trying to educate some of those small to medium business owners.
I think a lot of the questions will be to, right, I see AI, I see my business, but how do you integrate it? So how do you offload, unnecessary human workload to AI, which would free up presumably human resources to focus on customers or other things? And I think that's for a lot of business owners and managers, that's the gap. I'm here, AI's there. How does it integrate to me? How does it integrate with me, and how can it be proven that it's actually beneficial to me?
Yeah, I think, all of us won't fail to have seen the rise of generative AI, with ChatGPT came out in 2022. And really, those type of tools that use generative AI, they have kind of helped the small to medium businesses now to be able to interact with AI more. So, you're interacting with those tools using conversation, natural language. There's ways, some of the tool sets that come out there integrate with the types of things that people are used to working with every day. So maybe their Windows 365 applications, their Word documents, their emails, their spreadsheets. There's now AI tools built into those that give people a starting point. How can you maybe think about what that tool offers you? How can it help with certain tasks that you're doing day to day, so you can free yourself up from some of those mundane tasks that take up time, and you can then focus on more higher value work and your employees as well.
Yeah, which is kind of toe dipping, but still you'd see the benefits of it.
Oh, absolutely. I think it is just about looking for opportunities to bring in those efficiencies. It can also lead to a better employee experience, customer experience. So, I wouldn't underestimate how much that can actually bring to businesses in terms of, as you say, just being able to take advantage of the technology that's out there. I would say it's more than toe dipping. You can actually, there's ways that you can even create your own virtual assistant that allows people to maybe, contact your business, get answers to questions.
Yes, of course. What I meant by that was just if it's people's initial interactions with the likes of Gemini or the Copilot, or I have no doubt at all about the benefits that it can reap down the line. And I think there's a great opportunity for people to network with each other, but also get this information. It's at the Fintru Letterkenny office, which is located at Windy Hall, Letterkenny, and it's on Thursday, the 24th of October, from 8:30 a.m., 10 a.m. So sharp, to the point, because people are busy, right? So you're getting to the point and the benefits really quickly, but also an opportunity for members of the business community to get together.
Yes, absolutely. We are looking forward to welcoming in the wider business community into the office. We had a lot of visitors on the opening day, but this now allows people to sign up to that event, through the Chamber of Commerce website. We have limited capacity on the day, but, feel free to actually contact the Chamber of Commerce. I'm sure we'll still manage to squeeze a few more people in. So yeah, looking forward to welcoming people in.
Yeah, and it's a really exciting space. And I think it's going to be really beneficial to business. So hopefully there's a turnout there. Because even if people really have limited knowledge in this area, Catherine, they'll be catered for on Thursday.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is not for anyone with any great expertise in AI. There will be a short session just to kind of bring people through, what AI is, what it's good for, what it's not so good for, and how they can begin using that within their workplace. Fantastic.
Brilliant stuff. And it's about how you use it right and use it incorrectly. Amazon have sort of integrated AI into their app. I'm not excited about the experience. We'll see how that progresses, but that's all part of the learning curve, isn't it? It's what works really well, and then maybe what doesn't work so well.
Yeah, absolutely. There, as I said, it comes with the risks as well as the benefits, and it's about trying to maximise the benefits whilst trying to mitigate some of those risks. So yeah, we'll be talking through some of that as well, just to help people along that journey as well, how they get started.
Catherine, have a lovely day. Thank you so very much indeed. Really appreciate your time. Catherine Harkin, the Executive Director, Head of AI at Fintru. There's an AI awareness event exploring the impact on your business. So if you are a local business, a member of the local business community, or your employee, or whatever it might be, and you want to see how it might integrate with your work, or enhance, the offering you have for the public, then get yourself onto the Chamber website and you can book a spot for the event, which is on from 8:30 a.m. for an hour and a half at Fintru, Letterkenny, Windy Hall in Letterkenny. That's their office.
The 9 till noon show with Sony Centre Letterkenny. Check out their great range of TVs, headphones, speakers and cameras. Best deals guaranteed. Shop now at sonycentre.ie. Free delivery over €100.
We're celebrating 125 years of Opel. And with a milestone like that, what better time to explore Opel's extensive award-winning range? Plus, if you order your 251 Opel now, we'll gift you with a €500 Dunnes Stores gift card. Other than that, we've not much else to talk about. In fact, the percentage of time we're going to talk about finance offers, that would be 0%. Happy buy day to you. Find out more about our 251 offers at Heron Auto Opel. See heronopel.ie for details. T's and C's apply.
Glasgow calling. Fly from Donegal with Loganair for a seamless travel experience. Book your flight now at loganair.co.uk and discover the vibrant city of Glasgow. Travel with ease and comfort from Donegal to Glasgow with Loganair.
Last year, purple was voted Ireland's Cadbury snack of choice, and we are confident that our biscuit sandwich has delivered with every nibble and bite since. Whether over a cup of tea at lunch or a flat white during the afternoon slump, the Purple Snack's chunky milk chocolate is unmatched. So this year, we at Purple Snack are asking you to put your faith in us once again. Pick up a Cadbury Purple Snack in store today to cast your vote. Having a snack? Make it purple.
We love better value at Dunnes Stores. Mix and match any three for €5 and a fantastic range of tasty treats and soft drinks, like Meanie 6-packs and Coke Zero 2 litre. Choose from a range of Goodfellas takeaway-style pizzas, with a side like Bird's Eye chicken dippers and a tub of Häagen-Dazs ice cream. That's a pizza, side and dessert, all for just €6. Plus, you can save with a till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores. Always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more. Prices subject to deposit return scheme fees.
Homeland's Power Tool clearance starts this Friday 25th. Save up to 50% on Skill and CAT Power Tools. CAT 18-volt brushless impact driver, now €99. Save €100. Skill multi-tool now $44.99. Save €45. All this and more exclusively in store at Homeland Letterkenny while stocks last.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. If you haven't started using the McElhinney's Layaway Club, it's not too late. Spread the cost of Christmas with designer gifts for the whole family. Available by phone or in store at McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
All right, so the weather forecast: any mist and fog will clear, leaving a mostly dry day today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells along with a few showers. Temperatures 12 or 13 degrees and mostly light. Southwest breezes freshening near coast during this evening. Right, Darren Harvey's with me now. Hi, Darren.
Good morning, Ray.
This is one of these stories when when Caroline was briefing me on it, I found it hard to believe. Right, so you were flying back from Portugal on Sunday and you're still not home?
No, that's correct. We're still not home. We had 4 attempts of landing at Dublin Airport, twice diverted, once to Manchester, and eventually got diverted again to Birmingham after the 4th attempt. We decided to get off the plane at that stage because the attempted landings was horrendous. This is only my personal experience. I'm not speaking for anyone else on the plane, but we decided that we were not going to fly for 16. We just had enough, and we were already on the plane for 10 hours at that stage. And we decided at Birmingham to take ourselves off the plane, and 40 others also came off the plane as well. When we were in Birmingham and we were told that a new crew was coming back on and they were going to go try again, the atmosphere in the plane changed to people were going like, we can't really go try again. We've been through 4 horrendous attempts, and then my wife took a bit of a panic attack, and she went to the front to say that we needed to get off, and I told her to go off the plane, and she was stopped from getting off the plane. We says, no, you can't get off the plane, and I told the stewardess, listen, she's suffering from a panic attack, the situation's extreme here, she is getting off the plane. So I told her to go off. She walked down the steps, and I followed behind her, and our 11-year-old daughter came with us as well. And then we went down the steps, and after maybe half an hour or more, 20, 30, 40 more people came after that. We've been here since.
So before we get to why you're there and what happens next, I mean, obviously you were on the plane for a very long time, very stressful attempted landings given the weather conditions. How were you cared for by Ryanair in this process?
Given the extreme events of the flight and the length of time on it, it was okay. It was hard to deal with, but after the first 2 attempts, there was a medical emergency on our plane, and we had to be diverted to Manchester. Most people thought then that we were probably going to get in Manchester because of 2 horrendous attempts to land. The staff were, giving us bits and pieces of information. We didn't really know what we were going to happen in Manchester. They fed us very little information at that time as to what was going to happen. We just sat there 2.5 hours. We were then informed we were going back by the staff. As I say, it was still a stressful situation for everybody. After the 3rd and 4th attempt was made, the plane, when we were diverted then to Birmingham, the staff were trying their best, I have to say, but they sort of didn't have any information of what was going to happen. We really needed to know what was our next agenda. Were we going to Birmingham? And that was us. Sort of we had no mobile phones. Mobile phones all had died by the stage. We needed information as to, are we staying in Birmingham, or what is happening, because people had stuff to do. People had people to collect or being picked up.
So, Darren, once you once you departed the plane, presumably, Ryanair would say, well, look, if you'd stayed in the plane, we'd have got you home. Are you in a bit of a standoff now at this point? Like, did they sort of see you as breaking whatever contract or responsibility they might have had with you because you were so stressed, your wife was stressed, you had to get off that plane?
Yes. When we eventually got off the plane, they said to us, when you're off the plane, you are on your own to a certain degree. Now, it's on our heads now. We'll go back, try again. So when we make the decision to get off, everything outside of the plane, they have to do with accommodation or flights back or anything. They didn't say they were going to help us in any way. But that stage, we didn't really care what they were saying. We just needed to get off the plane, and we were dealing with that situation when we got off. It wasn't so much a standoff.
All right, the line is absolutely terrible, Darren. Is there any way you can reposition yourself in the room or something? It's just the line's absolutely brutal.
Can you hear me better now?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't so much a standoff. They just sort of said to us that, you can't get off the plane. But we did, we didn't forcefully get off. My wife just walked down the steps, and, the other people behind us, they tried to get off behind us, but they were stopped. They needed to get information from them because we said, we're staying now anyway. Once you're off the plane, that was it. That Ryanair didn't really have to deal with your situation then. They were more concerned about getting the people off who needed to get off and getting their baggage and luggage put together to get the plane back in the air to try again. But we had made a decision that we didn't really feel safe enough to go back and try which ended up being a 5th and 6th time for them to attempt. It took the 6th go for them to land.
Yeah, so, you have to make a judgment call on safety as well. How many times are you prepared to roll the dice? If you were on the back of a motorbike or in the back of a car, you'd eventually have to make a call. So you have a flight booked, you are getting home, but it's an incredible inconvenience because it's Tuesday now, so you'll be home late Tuesday. Do you hold Ryanair liable? Who do you want to cover this, or are you prepared to absorb this, or are you going to pursue it, Darren?
No, I can't see. We made the decision to get off. Now, Ryanair did, I suppose, at the end of the day, do what they were meant to do and land the plane in Dublin Airport. That was their main aim, and they did that. We decided to get off with 40 others, and that was our decision. And they did inform us once you were off that, you know, you were taking responsibility for your own actions after that. So we will have to bear the brunt of it. You know, it's not so much who's going to pay for this or who's paying for that. It's more the experience of the whole thing was a lot, and we just made it our call. Our personal decision was our call not to go for the 5th attempt. Many others did go for it. You know, I think after 10 hours on a plane, I think there should have been some sort of protocol here. I'm sure this has happened many times before. The information was very, very weak. You know, once we got off the plane, we had no accommodation, we had no phones, we had no flights back. And once we got off the plane into the terminal and got our luggage together, we all charged our phones to try and get accommodation and flights. Unfortunately, all the flights for today had already been booked up by everybody else's flights from England and elsewhere here who had been cancelled. They had jumped on all the Ryanair flights out of England today for us to get over, so we couldn't go back today. So our only option was to fly back. Sorry, yes, that's yesterday.
Yeah,
was to fly back today. You know, that was our decision to make, and we just have to deal with that.
All right, but there should be some sort of a protocol. I think there should be some space whereby, you know, you say, right, you've had 4 goes at this. There was a lot of distress on the plane, as you say, medical emergencies and everything else. So it wasn't just you guys, and we don't know the fate of the other 30 or 40. But listen, Darren, thanks for sharing the story with us. I hope it hasn't tainted the trip to Portugal too much, and we look forward to you getting home safe later today.
Okay, thank you very much.
Take care, Darren. Thanks for sharing the story there. What would you have done in that situation? 08660 25,000. Just some comments as we head to the news at 11. I visit my son's grave in Conwall Graveyard every day. Twice now I've had to remove dog poo from his grave. Would dog owners please be more thoughtful and clean up after their dog? I've seen them letting dogs off the leash to run around. Right, that's a very tough journey to make, but for the grave to be what must feel like desecrated in that situation, that would be too much to bear. Dog owners, please just think on others sometimes. And I'm referencing the small amount of dog owners who are irresponsible, if the truth be known.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, it's just turned 11 o'clock. Let's get a news update, and we welcome back into studio Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A resident of a home discovered an intruder in the Glendale Drive area of Letterkenny on Tuesday last. Between 7:45 and 8 p.m, the occupant heard rummaging around in the kitchen. When they went downstairs, the intruder had fled, leaving the back door open. Nothing was stolen from the house, and Gardaí are now appealing for anyone who believes they witnessed any suspicious activity to get in touch. 2 young children have been traumatised after a firework was thrown at them in Buncrana. The Gahirloch of the Inishowen Municipal District is now appealing to parents to ensure their children are not being sold the devices. Councillor Jack Murray says while the children were fortunate to have escaped physical harm, they were left very frightened. Gardaí have reissued an appeal for information in relation to an assault that occurred in Main Street Balbuffet in the early hours of Sunday, April 21st. At approximately 1:30 that morning, a man was assaulted near the junction of Glenfin Street, sustaining serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Gardaí say there were a large crowd out socialising that night as the Donegal Derry game had been played a few hours earlier. Meanwhile, Gardaí in Donegal are urging anybody involved in construction or farming to conduct a review of the security measures they have in place. The appeal comes in the wake of a number of recent incidents. These include the theft of digger track pads in Illustrian last week and the theft of tractor parts from a yard in Kerrykeele in recent weeks also. Following the demolition of 3 buildings in Letterkenny's Upper Main Street, Donegal County Council say part of the road will be closed between Rosemount and Market Square. Diversions will be in place. And finally, the Taoiseach says he knows the date he wants for the general election to be held, but he isn't revealing it. It will either take place on Friday the 29th of November or the 6th of December. 3 coalition leaders have agreed an election will be held this year once the finance bill has passed. That's all for now from Highland Radio News. We'll be back again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much, Donna Marie. We'll be back after this break.
The 9 till noon show, sponsored by Sony Centre Letterkenny. Discover the best in tech, TVs, soundbars, noise-cancelling headphones, mirrorless cameras and more. Best deals guaranteed. Shop in-store or at sonycentre.ie.
Welcome to foodie season, with Aldi offers like fresh red Gala apples was $1.59, now 99¢, for the crumbliest apple crumble ever. Apple crumble, tummy rumble. Oh, and what are you doing to me? Delicious microwavable baby potatoes, now only 69¢. Dessert before the spuds? I'm into it. Make every day delicious with unmissable Super 6 offers on fruit and veg. Go all Aldi.
At Uisce Éireann, we're continuing to upgrade Ireland's water network to ensure a clean, safe and reliable water supply. When repair and maintenance work is required in your area, we want to make sure homes and businesses are informed. That's why we have a new free text alert service providing real-time updates for issues lasting more than 4 hours. Sign up with your mobile number and air code at water.ie. Uisce Éireann, delivering water services for Ireland.
Business in Ireland is rapidly evolving. Employees and employers can future-proof with Skills to Advance micro-qualifications. At little or no cost, these are short, targeted courses in key areas like sustainability, digital business skills, market development and more. Stay ahead in your industry by contacting your local education and training board or visit skillstoadvance.ie. With Skills to Advance micro-qualifications, your next big step is micro. Supported by the Sulla Skills to Advance initiative in the Government of Ireland.
Join David James in the Jive Time Show this Thursday live from Easy Living Furniture at the Crescent Link Retail Park in Derry. We'll be there to find out more about their biggest sale of the year with up to 60% off absolutely everything in their Oktoberfest sale. We'll have guests, giveaways and more on the day, so join us live this Thursday from the Easy Living Furniture store at the Crescent Link Retail Park. This amazing Oktoberfest sale ends this bank holiday Monday or while stocks last.
We all want to restore our world's natural environment. But where do we even start? How about right here? With SuperValue Tidy Towns, we can reimagine our local areas. Every time we rewild, every time we strengthen biodiversity, every time we support our SuperValue Tidy Towns volunteers, that's real action. Because at SuperValue, we believe that every local action makes a global impact. SuperValue. Real food, real people, real action.
Now, we referenced a worrying incident that occurred recently. Two children left very, I suppose, frightened by a terrifying incident. Katerina joins us on the programme now. Thanks for your time, Katerina. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Right, okay, so what happened?
So basically, I took my two children out of the car, put them on the footpath as normal. They were standing there. Then I went back to the car to get their school bags, and a group of boys let off a firework, and it went right through the two of them and just missed my youngest son's leg and hand. They could have lost both.
My word. So it was lit and propelled itself in the direction of you and the children?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that could have caused no end of damage to either of the children or both.
Oh, absolutely. It was done intentionally. And I just don't think, now, in fairness, the school in question, I've been in contact with the school and the Gardaí, and they've done major patrols there today. And it's a whole different story. There's no fireworks going off. They're searching the children, and they're also selling them outside a shop in Buncrana in the morning. I found out since then, and they're taking them from the shop and bringing them down. Now they're not selling them in the shop, outside the shop. They're obviously getting them from the north, and then they're selling them outside a shop, and they're bringing them down and selling them.
How did they get away with that? I mean, that's we're told it's highly illegal.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're being snuck around on Facebook or Snapchat. You're saying they're being sold on the street.
Oh, they're being sold on the street. But now, in fairness, the Gardaí were fantastic, and they sent plainclothes officers up to the area this morning to patrol it, and they're doing everything that they can do.
Yep, exactly. We don't want to compromise. I don't want to compromise any investigation. Okay, that's all right. So, but it would make you wonder what was going through these young people's heads to think that they.
My children are 3 and 4. They were standing side of the road waiting on their school bags.
But to fire a firework in someone's direction, that's the point I'm talking about. Like and then to carry on and let one off into the sky as if nothing had happened. Like.
It was like, did they want to scare them? Did they want to intentionally hurt them? I'm not too sure. And then I turned round then, and I'm a teacher myself, and I'd obviously taught a couple of them. I didn't see their faces, but they went, "Oh no, that's so and so's children. Let's run!" So they knew, as if my children make any difference to anybody else's children. They don't. Children are children, and they don't need to be scared, and they don't need to stand on the side of the road and have fireworks thrown at them in the morning at 10 to 9.
Now, how are they? As you say, they were just getting ready for the start of the school day.
Yeah, they're okay. They're fine. The oldest boy was a bit dazed by the whole situation. The youngest boy just he didn't really take it on. I think he thought, fireworks, Halloween, whatever. But I've spoken to them, and no, they're okay, thank God. They're just a bit nervous now with noises. Like the youngest boy, he would be nervous anyway with dogs. He had an incident with a dog, jumped up on him once that wasn't on a lead, and he's scared of dogs. Now he's scared of noises. He's anxious enough as it is. He doesn't need this put it on top of everything else. But I think parents really need to check, their kids' bags in the morning. Like, were they getting €40 to go and buy fireworks in the morning? Like, I couldn't get €2 off my mommy, to get sausage rolls when I was in secondary school. Where are they getting all this money from? And check your school bags and check everything and make sure it's not your child that's behind it.
And I think to have the conversation with them, because I don't think these young lads, and I could be wrong, but I don't think they would have set that off in your direction if they were considering that they could have blown someone's hand off or took someone's eye out.
I don't think they realise the implications.
Yeah,
no.
So I think maybe that conversation's important as well, to understand the dangers, because as sure as night follows day, there'll be someone down in the ED this weekend losing an eye, losing a finger, something like that there, because unfortunately it happens every single year, Katerina, even though we do these types of appeals on an annual basis. So I suppose us as parents and guardians, we have to get tough and have that conversation and check the school bags in the bedrooms or wherever they might be.
Yeah, I think everything has to be checked. I think we all lead busy lives. I'm the same. I get the kids out in the morning and we're go, but the older children now, like these boys were around 14, 15, roughly, by the height of them. And, their parents need to check their bags and they need to speak to them in every aspect about the dangers, because they think it's a bit of crack. It's not a bit of crack. I could be in a whole different situation this morning.
Oh, it doesn't bear thinking. And that's why we're speaking about it today, to ensure that no one finds themselves in that situation. Maybe they are old enough, they should have known better. Sometimes I can people think I can be too soft. 14, 15, 16, you should know the dangers. Well, listen, thank you, Katerina, for helping us highlight this. Hopefully the younger one in particular, I know what it's like when the dogs jump up and how these things stick with young ones, but hopefully they'll be grand in the long term. But thanks very much for helping us highlight it again.
All right, thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Best wishes to everyone. All right, Katerina there. Anyone else the target of an attack by firework? Let us know. 086 60 25,000. Lots of planes, says the listener, were unable to land on Sunday. My husband's plane, Turkish Airlines, was diverted to Birmingham. He didn't get home till yesterday evening. It was beyond the control of pilots or airlines, and people had to do as they were advised in these circumstances. I'm afraid Ryanair cannot be blamed in this instance. No, I mean, they can't be blamed because of the T's and C's. But I suppose if you've had four failed attempts, there's a suspected heart attack on the plane, and everyone's up to high dough, and you've been sitting on the plane for 10 hours, I suppose, and in fairness to Darren, he doesn't think Ryanair are going to cough anything up, and he says that's not why he was speaking to us. You do make a judgment call and say, am I going to put myself or my family through this again? Because they did try and land again. The 5th was unsuccessful. They eventually got down on the 6th. A wee note, I was in Letterkenny ED yesterday for 7 hours. I got all my procedures looked at. It was very, very busy yesterday from early to late. One thing I noticed is that when a person comes to the ED, they're there because they have to be there. When you arrive, all you're waiting for is your name to be called. Young, old, mothers and fathers with young children, all are waiting to hear their name called. The system for calling a person's name has to be looked at. The nurses and doctors have enough to do. This information should be relayed by one person with a caring voice. People don't understand if it's their name called or not, as all patients are waiting for the name to be called. I propose the HSE employ just one person for calling patients' names and directing them to the proper door they're called for as well. More seating for patients, as yesterday there were as many standing as there were seated. No high-vis vests in Clonmany Garda Station, says a listener. Okay, we were talking about the importance of wearing high-vis. Pat the Cope is on the ground working, helping all people. He lost out last time, regardless of age. That comes in from Martin. Hi, Greg. Do you know anywhere where people can recycle clothes? They don't bin cash in places are closed. People aren't taking anything due to export reasons, apparently. Where can people and even charity shops get rid of clothes that cannot be repaired? Obviously, nobody wants to dump them in a skip. Yeah, but most of the place, the bottle banks and all, they normally have a clothes bank, don't they? That's where you could put them, and there are charities that benefit from that. If I've misread that text or anyone else has any further information, please let us know. Mr. McConaughey's not on Highland because the presenter is biased against him. The presenter is pro Sinn Féin. No, not at all. And the one thing about here, everything's full, open and transparent. Every single show I've done is available for you to listen back to or you can watch it back for that matter. And I am pretty confident that that's not the case. And I'm certainly not pro any party in particular either. I mean, we've had people saying today that we're Sinn Féin bashing and others saying that we're pro Sinn Féin. So it's very hard to know what the story is. But I'm certainly not anti any individual at all. Am I pro questioning about important issues that affect people? Yes, that's it. That's all I've done. Right, Emma Gova is the wee Donegal mammy, of course, and is with me now. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Greg. Good morning to you and your listeners.
Good to talk to you. Right, we're in the mouth of an election now, Emma, so it looks like November 29th. But you have an appeal to government.
I do have an appeal to government and the powers that be. Look, we know that the finance bill has to get proper scrutiny and get through Dawn, and I respect that that's going to be done on the 5th of November, and it's a really important piece of legislation, so I understand it has to get proper scrutiny. However, if we just knew the date of the upcoming general election, and the reason I'm asking this is for people who would require a postal vote.
Mm-hmm.
Because once the Dáil is dissolved, up until 2 days after the Dáil is dissolved is when you have, when you're eligible to apply for one, and then the portal's closed, let's say. So, and there are quite a few people who would be eligible for a postal vote. Full-time members of the Defence Forces, people who have illness or disability, students who are in full-time education in an institution in Ireland but are away from their home address which they're registered in, those who can't attend their local polling station because of the occupation, those who are in nursing homes, members of the Garda Síochána, and those who are in prison as a result of the order of the court.
That's a lot of people when you add them up, isn't it, Emma?
It really is, you see. So, and the thing is, as I say, 2 days after the dissolution of the Dáil, in the case of a general election, or 2 days after the date of the order of appointing a poll day, in case of a Dáil by-election. It's different for other elections or other referendums. It's 22 days after it's been called, but for the Dáil or for by-elections for the Dáil, it's 2 days after it's been announced. So that's quite a short window of time when we don't know the exact date that the election's going to be on, if you get me.
Yeah, I do indeed. I didn't realise the window was that narrow, Emma.
Yeah, so, for the likes of my own daughter, we've talked about my daughter many times. She's got to be on your show, Michaela. Michaela would have used a postal vote in the last local election because although she voted in person during the referendums there in springtime, she was too ill during the local election to go out. So we availed of the postal vote.
Yeah, and you have this knowledge, Emma, as well, which I don't know everyone has either. For instance, I had no notion about this, but I've never had to come across it before. It just leaves a very limited amount of time for people to have their democratic right to exercise their view.
And what I would be saying to anybody that feels that they may be entitled to a postal vote or may need it to use a postal vote is, you can start applying now.
Right.
So you can go on to the Citizens Advice Information. You can download your form or contact one of your local representatives. I know Councillor Jack Murray from Inishowen had something about this up on his social media a couple of days ago, and I'm sure now a lot of others will be putting it up on their social media.
Emma, just to be clear, because I'm learning as we speak now. So registering for postal votes is open now, but that window closes 2 days after the election is called.
As far as I'm aware, you can start looking into it now. But for example, if Taoiseach Simon Harris does what he's expected to do, which is dissolve it all after the finance has gone through the Oireachtas, then you will only have 2 days after that, and then the portal closes.
Yes. I get you, and it might be just too short notice.
And some people may be confused because we were hearing a lot about the postal votes for the local elections and the referenda there, but that's 22 days you get for that. For the Dáil, it is 2 days after it has been called, the portal closes. It's really important that anybody who feels that they may be entitled to a postal vote, and as I said there earlier, I'll just reiterate that information. It's an Irish diplomat posted abroad, or their spouse or civil partner who is living abroad with them, a whole-time member of the Defence Forces, somebody with illness or disability, those who may reside in a elderly care home, those who are studying full-time at an educational institution in Ireland, which is away from the home address with which they are registered in, those because of their occupation, service or employment, who may not be able to attend their polling station. You may also be eligible for it if you are in prison as a result of a court order or a member of the Garda Síochána. So like the frontline workers and things like that. So it's really important, because I know I'm always banging this drum, but there's no point in giving out after the election about who's elected if you don't use your vote. You know what I mean? So it's really important to exercise your constitutional right.
So you could go onto the County Council website and you can register right now. As you say, the closing date for receipt of completed application forms for inclusion in the postal and special votes list for a general election will be 2 days after the dissolution of the Dáil. So you click in application forms, and there's a lot of forms there. ERF1, ERF2, PVC. But anyway, it says register to vote.
You got to work your way through it. So it's not as simple as just registering online to vote. So that's why I'm urging people now who may feel that they are entitled to a postal vote, please, start looking into it now, because as I say, once Taoiseach dissolves Dáil, which is expected to be after the 5th of November, everybody kind of knows that it's going to be the 29th of November, although he won't say it. And I would call on the government just to announce the date before, even if they haven't dissolved Dáil yet, because, it's only fair to our members of society who may need a postal vote, like my own daughter who availed of the postal vote. They have as much right to vote as everybody else, and it's their constitutional right to vote.
And interesting,
I would encourage them to release the date.
And more interesting maybe this than in previous elections, you can actually register to vote if you don't have an address. There's a specific form for that. Right, okay.
No, that's because of the homelessness crisis as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Look into it, and as I say, I would encourage the government and the powers that be to get in touch with their own government officials down in Dublin and say, listen, not just the people of Donegal, but everybody in Ireland has the right to know the date so that they can get their ducks in a row if they are not able to attend their polling stations. All
right, if you want to say what form you need, you can email the council, franchise@donegalcoco.ie, and they'll return the forms to you, to your email address as well, if that would suit you better. All right, Emma, thanks very much for your time. Emma Gover there, the wee Donegal mammy.
The 9 till noon show with Sony Centre Letterkenny, Ireland's only Sony store, offering the best deals guaranteed. TVs, soundbars, headphones, cameras, party speakers and much more. Shop in-store or online at sonycentre.ie.
Discover the hidden gem of Letterkenny, La Papa Kitchen and Coffee House, where you can indulge with friends in delicious Buddha bowls, pastas, light bites and organic coffee. There's something for everyone to enjoy. Remember the name, La Papa, located next to KO Fitness and McGinley's Furniture on the Joe Boner Road. Open 7 days a week.
Donegal County Council is inviting the public to hear more about the plans for the reuse of the old courthouse in Letterkenny as an exciting tourist attraction. Come along to a drop-in information event in the old courthouse building on Justice Walsh Road on Thursday 24th of October, anytime between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. For more information, visit donegalcoco.ie.
Looking for a technology partner to help you reach your business goals? With cybersecurity solutions from Vodafone, your business can hack off the hackers. And with our collaboration tools like Microsoft 365, your business can bring the team together, wherever they are. Keeping your business secure and productive. Make technology work for you with solutions and support from Vodafone. Search Your Business Can today.
Are you ready to flip, tumble and soar over to Michael Murphy Sports to get your hands on the Kids Gymnastics Gym Range? The ultimate gift for the young gymnast in your family. Whether they're just starting or perfecting their routine, Kids Gymnastics has everything from wedge mats to balance beams in a range of vibrant colours and styles. See michaelmurphysports.ie.
At DoorTech Garage Door Systems in Kilmacrennan, we specialise in the supply and installation of all types of industrial roller doors and garage doors. Whether for your home, business or farm, our doors offer the security you need. For premium quality doors, call DoorTech on 9139941 or visit doortech.ie.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
It is 11:23. Thank you for all of your comments coming in this morning. We will get to them as the morning wears on. But next, I want to welcome onto the programme author Cúnach McGann. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, and I have in my midst a book from you. It's called Everything is Manasam, 365 Days of Celebrating Irish Women. It's a cute wee thing. It's very traditional.
It is. I mean, is it too early to say stocking filler?
Oh, never. No. This is the time to chuck your book into the Christmas market. Right. So, Manasam, obviously, it's a play on words. Women are awesome. Right. So, why did you decide to come up with this book? Cúnach?
Well, I suppose for years and years I've been hearing stories about women, Irish women in particular, who've done amazing things, and you don't often hear about them actually. And what I wanted to do was draw as many of them as possible into the one book. And I thought, what a great idea to hang it on, 365 dates. That's of course until I tried actually piecing them all together, because each date is the date of an event or an achievement for an Irish woman or for Irish women in general.
Yeah, we don't celebrate women enough, I don't think. I'm speaking to you from Donegal, for an example, where we've had incredibly influential women, both alive and those that have passed. And to the best of my knowledge, we don't have a single statue that actually recognises an individual woman. There are statues of women, right? Don't get me wrong. But we don't, as far as I'm aware, and I'm open to correction, I'd love to be corrected, we don't have one single statue recognising the amazing contribution of the many, many women that we've been lucky enough to have from Donegal.
Absolutely. And it's not just Donegal, it's everywhere. It's sort of nationwide. There's a tiny number of statues dedicated to actual Irish women. I think in Dublin, it's out of all the hundreds of statues in Dublin, it's just half a dozen women, I think, that are represented. So it's no great surprise. We've been very slow to credit women in the same way that we credit men.
So, I mean, obviously, we have to have a hook, don't we? 365 days of celebrating Irish women. I presume there can be many a sequel to this book. So how did you go about drawing the information together and selecting the stories, which it's incredibly accessible? I can't emphasize that enough for the listener. But how did you go about gathering the information together?
So I suppose what I started with are there's women there that have a very specific date that I needed to keep to. So a woman who achieved something on a particular date. So for example, there's a suffragist called Mary Maloney, and she's most famous for following Winston Churchill around with a bell. And every time he tried to speak, she would ring the bell and drown out his words because he'd been disparaging about the suffragette movement. And I knew she was hooked to that particular week, those particular dates. So there were women like that were very specific dates, and there are women then who had much more sort of career highs that I could choose from and move them around a little bit. So I had a little bit of leeway with some of the women.
Also, to a lot of leeway in time. Some have made their significant contribution recently and are still continuing to do so. And other are historic, of course.
So it spans sort of from the 1700s right up until today.
Which is kind of interesting. Why did you decide, not necessarily... So that I suppose it's to recognise a woman's influence or contribution regardless of the time frame. Sure, what difference does time make?
Indeed. And I suppose what I wanted to give was a feeling of the progress that we've made. So we have been making progress in terms of women getting the vote, women securing sort of equal pay, all those sorts of achievements as well. And I wanted to highlight the women along that way. So it gives a good feel of where we've come from and where we're going and where the momentum is going.
Yeah, brilliant. So, how many were left out? Like, is this the first of many?
Do you know, as soon as you publish a book like this, somebody's like, hey, why aren't they in it? So it's unfortunately, that's an occupational hazard with a book like this. So certainly there are women there that I wish I'd put in. But I still think I've gotten a good cross-section across across the arts and politics, music, theatre, film, science, social justice, and feminism as well.
I was going to say who's the market, but sure, the market's everyone, especially when it's just been launched. But I'm thinking, sometimes you have to see it to be it, right? And I think, for younger girls and younger boys to actually understand women's role in society, especially with some of the toxic masculinity we see around nowadays, but also for younger girls, even in transition year or whenever it might be, that might want to feel inspired, because there's nothing beats seeing what others achieve to sort of set your own goals.
You're absolutely right. And I think, I don't know, have you ever heard of, in the X-Files in the 1990s, there's a thing called the Scully effect. And that was women seeing a scientist portrayed in a positive light. And it actually impacted the numbers studying science. So yes, absolutely see it, be it. And I would love to think that this book would be in the hands of teenagers, maybe older teenagers. It kind of dips into areas of equality and things like that. So it might be more suitable for slightly older teenagers, but I would love the idea that they would be inspired by some of the women in this book.
Definitely. And that's always at the parents' discretion as well, because we know our children
Indeed.
best, don't we, in their
Exactly.
stage of development. Is there any, having gone through it all and obviously having a general interest in this anyway, is there one particular lady that stands out? Not that she is your fave. I'm not saying that as such.
It's like
but,
picking a favourite child.
Exactly, and I'm not asking you to do that. So one of your children, like whose story through your research or the knowledge that you already had, really stands out for you as a hero of yours amongst all of the heroes?
Okay, well, so I actually come from a science background. I studied chemistry in college, so I have a bit of I have a twinkle in my eye when it comes to kind of trailblazing scientists. And actually, a woman who was born in Donegal, Kay McNulty, she emigrated with her family to America, and she was extraordinary. She was a maths genius. She was recruited by the US Army to calculate ballistics trajectories. And she was one of 6 what they called human computers. So if anybody's seen the movie Hidden Figures, these women had extraordinary mathematical brains. And she was one of those. She was one of 6 who programmed one of the first digital computers, ENIAC. And they were responsible for programming the entire computer. And yet when it was unveiled in 1946, the women were told to act as hostesses and look good. So they were never acknowledged at the time. And of course, when Kay married, she had to resign her job, and her husband was a computer developer. And he was a widower, and he had 2 children from his previous marriage. And when they got married, he gifted her a cookbook and said, "You are our new cook." So she cooked. She raised 7 children, and she also programmed, totally uncredited, her husband's computers. So later on, she was absolutely recognized for it. But at the time, can you imagine? It's such a waste of a brain in lots of ways, you know?
Yeah, indeed. And she's amongst many in Everything is Manasum, 365 days of celebrating Irish women. The image on the front's interesting. What were you depicting there? I'll just show our listeners who might be.
I suppose it's kind of like an Irish version of Rosie the Riveter, and it's sort of, I suppose I wanted this book to be a shot in the arm and say, look what we've achieved and what we can go on to do.
All right, it's published by O'Brien and available in all the usual places, I'm sure, and plenty of online stores as well. Brilliant stuff, and as you say, a nice little stocking filler. Very shortly, in about a week, we'll be able to say Christmas is next month, so it's pretty close. All right, best of luck with everything, Cúnach. Thanks so much for your time. Bye-bye. Cúnach McGann there. The book Everything is Manawesome. There you go. I've been told, and I'm open to correction, and do you know what? I was open to correction. I have been corrected, and there's no harm in this because it gets the message out there. Lorraine tells me that there is a statue in Stranraer of Francis Browne, who was a local poet from the Finn Valley area, and I know Francis's work. And Lorraine says, I think it's the Glenfin area. It's to recognise her writing work. So are there any other statues of specific women to celebrate their contribution to Donegal society and society in general? Apparently there is a statue of Francis. Is there any more out there? Let us know. 08660 25,000.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show brought to you by Sony Centre Letterkenny. From party speakers to TVs, cameras and camcorders, find it all at Ireland's only Sony store. Free deliveries on orders over €100. Visit sonycentre.ie today.
Luxury is not merely seen or heard or even touched. True luxury is experienced. It lies in the minute details that elevate the ordinary into the extraordinary. It's quiet spoken, but leaves a lasting impression. You know it when you feel it. Luxury begins with L. Lexus. Experience amazing. Discover the all-electrified range at Lexus Letterkenny.
Just the way I am.
This Bank Holiday Sunday at the Abbey Hotel, Donegal, get ready for a spectacular night with Ireland's most exciting band, the Tumblin' Paddies. Come in your best fancy dress and dance the night away. Tickets on Eventbrite or pay at the door. The Tumblin' Paddies this Sunday.
Do you know what suits a suitcase? Suits a suitcase like me. What's suitable for a dutiful piece of luggage like me? Shannon Airport knows precisely what exactly suits me nicely. So find out concisely at shannonairport.ie.
Affordable parking, easy access, seamless security and dream holiday destinations like Lanzarote, Paris and New York for a hassle-free airport experience for you and your suitcase. Start your dream holiday at shannonairport.ie.
That's the sound of someone sleeping soundly on a Restex mattress. Choose from the Donegal range. A Teelan, a Kinnigo, or a Mulroy mattress. It'll change the way you sleep forever. Restex beds, Mountaintop Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out shaneconleycars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
There's Monster Bingo tonight and every Tuesday night at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford. €3,250 must go. Doors open at 7:30. Bingo starts at 8:30. That's Monster Bingo tonight at Mulroy Woods Hotel, Milford.
Okay, we're joined on the programme now by Texas Ollie, a.k.a. Ollie Hepburn. Ollie, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, man. All is good.
It's good to have you on the show. Right, people will know you, of course. You're a host. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, actually.
Yeah, I'm actually, they call me the horseman. You know, I tour international with 2 crazy horses, and that's, yep. So now I'm back in Ireland. I'm back living off grid, and I never meet much people unless I go out, you know, to do a little bit of music. I'm a country western singer and Irish ballads, you know. So I go out at the weekends and do some sessions with people, you know.
You are
So that's it.
Yeah, brilliant, and that keeps you very busy, of course. Now, you are taking part in the RTE dating show Love in the Country. Your episode airs on Monday, the 28th of October at 9:35 on RTE2. So, tell us what you did as part of the show, Ollie.
Well, how it came about. I was in a thing where I'm looking for people to, foreign people that comes over here and they work for a little bit, and I give them their food and take them around and show them places, and that's how it became. They found me in that ad, and they asked me would I like to be on Love in the Country, and I said, what's Love in the Country? I never seen it,
Mm-hmm.
So they explained to me what's it about. A guy, I didn't have I was looking for a woman. I was looking for someone to come and help with the horses and help me do a little bit of, tidying up and building. So I said, yeah, I'm not too busy at the moment. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I'm game for a laugh,
And what were you looking for once sort of the opportunity arrived? You've brought joy to young and old throughout the years. With the amazing tricks and what have you that your horse have performed. Now you want to bring, I suppose, joy and delight to that special person. Is it companionship mostly you're looking for, Ollie?
Yeah, companionship, someone like maybe, someone millionaire or someone with their own land so they could keep my horses. No, I'm only joking. No, I'm looking for a companion, I'm looking for a soulmate, someone that loves horses, loves animals, and light-hearted, and just nice person.
And you bring a lot to the table too. Your sense of humour, you bring the laughter, you bring the entertainment, bit of dancing or what have you. I mean, you've a lot to offer as well, Ollie.
I do, yeah, but I'm a modest man. I'm not gonna brag about
That's my job.
what I can do,
All right, so this has been filmed now. So do we have to watch the show on Monday to find out how you got on? So what do you do during the show? There's a speed dating element to it, is there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, they pick 8 ladies for me, and then we whittle them down until 2, and then you have to make a choice. But I'm that nice guy. I wouldn't make a choice. I said, I'll just exchange numbers. And they said to me, yeah, Ollie, that's a good idea. Because I said, listen, I wouldn't like to be knocked down on national TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm not going to do it to anyone else. So they said, yeah, that's a good idea. We can follow up then. Maybe I shot myself in the foot by saying that, but I wouldn't say no to the last 2 ladies,
I get you. It just wasn't in your nature.
I'm a gentleman.
Okay, so we'll find out if anything come of this numbers exchange on Monday. Don't give it away, Ollie, but I presume that we'll find out something on the show.
You will indeed, yeah. Watch the show. I'll guarantee you'll be entertained,
Brilliant. All right, well done, Ollie. Looking forward to that. And as I say, hopefully you sound like a lovely man. Hopefully you find love, if not through this show, whichever way you choose to. Thank you very much indeed. That's Ollie Hepburn, a.k.a. Texas Ollie. And you can see his dating experience on Love in the Country on Monday, the 28th of October. It's at 9:35 p.m. on RTE2, or available very shortly thereafter, I'm sure, on the RTE player. A caller says, you refuse to mention the elephant in the room. Whoever the anti-migrant nationalist candidate will be getting my number 1. That's fine. It's up to you. Charlie McConnell, not on Highland because the presenter is biased, says another listener. Pat the Cope hasn't stopped working, always working hard for the county, says another listener. I missed the start of your discussion with John. All parties and candidates, and I only heard Ain't Too mentioned once in passing as by the way. I feel Ain't Too candidate Mary T. Sweeney would be a very strong TD, very good for the whole of Donegal, and let's have women power to the fore, indeed. And Mary T. on the show regularly. It would be quite the story if she's successful. Thanks to John and Greg for an interesting analysis on the upcoming election, coming in from an Inishowen listener there. And on it goes. Right. Good morning, Greg. I'll come back to that in a second, actually, because I have my next guest, Rena Weld, on. She's a recruitment manager at Matrix Recruitment. Good morning to you, Rena. Thanks for your time. Can you hear me, Rena?
I can hear you, Greg. Can you hear me?
Well, I can now. I pushed up the correct fader. That was all on me. Right, okay. We're speaking off the back of a new survey out. It's the 7th Matrix Workplace Equality Survey. It was conducted online in August. Over 1,200, in fact, almost 1,300 adults in Ireland working across a broad range of industry sectors and regions took part in it. And there's a few key findings, Rena. And what are the key findings that Matrix is highlighting for us today?
The key findings there, Greg, are around the fact that there is still a lot of discrimination within the workplace. We've seen over 70% of respondents have seen discrimination in the workplace. And we've also seen a quarter of respondents state that there is a rise in far-right sentiment. And then as well as that, I suppose, just to kind of show the importance of why employers need to take action, is a key finding shows that over 70% of the respondents state that they have either left or would consider leaving a role because of discrimination.
Now, I presume...
So it does show that employers need to take action about this.
Well, that's what I was going to say, actually, Rena, because whilst 3/4 say the workplace discrimination is an issue in Ireland, do employers see that, I wonder? Do they have the systems and mechanisms in place whereby if someone in the workplace feels that is happening, that they can sort of identify it? Because it's quite possible that there are managers or business owners that think everything's rosy in the garden.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, Greg, and that's why Matrix do this survey, to add value to employers and to show, I'm sure, many perhaps don't see the far-right sentiment as prevalent as what we have found there. So it is to raise awareness. We have seen a lot around diversity, equality and inclusion initiatives across Ireland. All HR leaders, it is a key area of focus for them. So I do believe that the focus is there. Perhaps there is a question around the effectiveness of the implementation. So employers can take this information back. They can see, okay, well, look, Matrix have identified there is an issue here. Take it back to their own organisation. I would encourage employers to conduct, surveys across their own workplace and see, what issues are there, if there are any. And from there, they can take actions then to suit their own workplace.
Yeah, and just to be a little bit more specific in the far right sentiment at work, what we're at, and some people might take issue with that phraseology, what we're actually talking about is really an increase in discriminatory remarks. People maybe feel empowered to reference people based on their skin colour or their background. And just general maybe negative commentary towards minority groups. I'm not sure there's necessarily an increase in society in that stuff. What I do think is there's an increase in people feeling that they can say it because, you know what, free speech, I can say what I like. Maybe you can, but sometimes the workplace is not the place for that.
Certainly not. And how we've seen the survey has shown it's manifested here as discriminatory remarks or jokes, spread of misinformation or conspiracy theories, and opposition to diversity and inclusion efforts. So what I think is really important for employers to look at is early education, as soon as workers are in the door or, if it's not already been done, implementing it to show education around both unconscious bias as well as unwanted behaviours and what they look like. I know there's a technology company I was speaking to there recently, someone who's in there, and their head of Ireland actually goes around to each team to make sure that they are doing their annual courses in terms of what discriminatory behaviour looks like in the workplace, because it's always changing, and it's always progressing. So I think that's a very good example of how companies can do it. and even, looking at intentional inclusion. And this could be more so on the discriminatory, side, putting maybe a fan on the desk for, in terms of looking at women with menopause in the workplace. So those small actions can make a huge difference in that intentional inclusion.
I get you.
And,
what I thought very interesting as well was what I see is a significant increase in gender discrimination, up from 25% in 2023 to 36% in August. So that's an 11% increase. Does the data allow any conclusions to be drawn as to why there should be such a significant increase in gender discrimination?
It doesn't. We haven't gone into that, but that's something certainly we could go into, next year in our survey. So we haven't pinned down, exactly the personal experiences. It is an online survey. We're not kind of interviewing individuals to get their individual stories. But I do think that the Gender Pay Gap Reporting Initiative, that should make more and more difference every year. Already, employers with 150 employees have to legally report on any gender pay gap information, and that is expected to actually apply to companies with over 50 employees into 2025. So that should have a positive impact, around that gender inequality in the workplace.
Rena, thanks very much for that. I do appreciate it. You can get more information on that and the work of Matrix Recruitment. Just search them out online. Right. Someone contacted me with the following comment. As you know, we were talking last week about the availability of driving tests. There's a significant backlog in Donegal. There are just 4 driving testers in this county. 1 based in Donegal town, 3 in Letterkenny, none in Inishowen. Now, in reality, the Inishowen is covered by driver testers from the other centres covering lessons there, covering tests there. But 4 for a county of 170 plus thousand clearly isn't enough, or there wouldn't be such a significant backlog. And I was speaking to some people from Inishowen waiting over a year for a test. But we got a contact from a someone with skin in the game, shall we say, and just wanted to clarify some stuff, or just to put their side of it across. I've been a HGV bus and car instructor for many a year now. Last week issues on the driving test backlog was again confrontational. The driving test pass rates for every test centre in the country are available on the RSA website. Letterkenny runs around about 62%. The national pass rate is around about 49%. Now, this means that if, let's say, 45,000 tests are carried out each year, half of that amount goes straight back onto the waiting list. That's 22,500, isn't it? So they say it's never ending. Now, if the RSA approved driving instructors, who, by the way, pay the RSA €250 biannually to keep their qualifications, had more input who can actually go forward for a test, then the backlog would be cleared overnight, don't you think? So, I mean, that does make a bit of sense, of course, because you tick the boxes sometimes, don't you? Get your 10 or 12 tests and you go and do your lesson, but maybe your instructor goes, my word, this fella can't drive to save their lives. Should they be going forward for their test? Forsa are the driving examiners union, goes on the listener. Recently, the examiners were paid $5,000 each to let the part-time examiners become full-time. These extra examiners will increase testing, but not the pass rate. The ADI instructors need more skin in the game. There you go. Okay, so listen, there's an angle on every story, isn't it? And that's another one there. Good morning, Greg. A 24-foot mural of an immigrant has just been put up in Ireland. Who's paying for this? I want my tax money spent on things for the Irish, no one else. Get someone on to explain why this face, this blow-in's face, was put up. We've enough culture. If we want African culture, we'll go to Africa. Right, okay. It's very important that to note that there are people from Africa who've made very significant contributions to Irish society for hundreds of years. I'm not quite sure of the mural that you're talking of, but there's an awful lot of Irish people, priests and others, who there are murals and statues to in the likes of Africa, because we also went over there and contributed significantly. But that's a caller, and that's their view. Hi, Greg. I have a query. If it's November 29th for voting, is that why the toy show was moved to the following week in December? As I'm reminded, like room to improve, it's alleged they were given advance notice by the government too on the available home grants, as it's usually on Thanksgiving weekend. As I heard a reporter trying to explain to an American why you can't have both on the same day. So maybe we'll be looking at turkeys on that day now. It's going to be a Black Friday for some. Maybe it'll be light relief from the US elections on November 5th, as it's Guy Fawkes Day in the UK. But no matter what the result, there's going to be fireworks. That comes in from Kevin in Dunlow. Indeed. The Late Show was moved forward very early, and there was speculation at the time that they knew something we didn't. Listen, the bottom line is it was pretty much accepted, and we were talking along the lines of it being the 15th, the 22nd, or the 29th. That was our working theory. Now it's down to the 29th, we believe. But they could pull a surprise yet. Looking forward to the US elections. It's going to be very interesting. I'm not sure what I want. I'm not sure what the right thing is. I'm not sure what the world needs. Really. Is it a continuance if Kamala Harris gets in? Is it a continuance of what Joe Biden achieved or didn't achieve for that matter? Is she going to come in with a fresh brush and change things? What is the situation if Donald Trump gets elected? How will that impact world relations? You know, I mean, the US economy it does affect us, but it's by the by. But it's really what sort of they do internationally in the likes of Ukraine or the Middle East or what have you. I don't know what the right thing is for the world, or if either of those two candidates actually, provide a positive outcome for us as a whole. We'll see. What do you think? Let me know. 086 60 25,000.
The 9 till noon show with Sony Centre Letterkenny. Check out their great range of TVs, headphones, speakers and cameras. Best deals guaranteed. Shop now at sonycentre.ie. Free delivery over €100.
Get ready for Pumpkin Day at the ESA Centre, located on the Donegal-Derry border, air code F93F104. This free event is open to everyone. Choose from a great selection of Halloween pumpkins. Enjoy face painting, tasty treats, hot food and tray bakes. Get spooky in our photo booth and don't miss the fancy dress fun. Be there if you dare. That's Pumpkin Day at the ESA Centre this Saturday the 26th, F93F104.
Right now, at B&Q, get 3 for 2 on interior paint, including brands like Faro and Ball and Dulux, and 4 for 3 on laminate and luxury vinyl click flooring, making autumn the perfect time for an indoor refresh for less. Shop in-store or online. You can do it when you B&Q it. Ends 4th of November. Exclusions apply. See DIY.ie.
Go full Lidl for exclusive Lidl Plus Board B approved Super Savers. For an unbeatable dinner, try our award-winning deluxe strip loin sharing steak, $1.50 off, now $7.49. And complement the dish with our fluffy roasted potatoes, perfect however they're prepared. 54% off, now just $1.69. Scan the Lidl Plus app and go full Lidl today.
We're celebrating 125 years of Opel. And with a milestone like that, what better time to explore Opel's extensive award-winning range? Plus, if you order your 251 Opel now, we'll gift you with a €500 Dunnes Stores gift card. Other than that, we've not much else to talk about. In fact, the percentage of time we're going to talk about finance offers, that would be 0%. Happy buy day to you. Find out more about our 251 offers at Manor Motors Opel. See manormotors.ie for details. T's and C's apply.
Transform your home with Hegarty's Home Interiors in Buncrana. Discover a wide selection of stylish furniture and decor to create your perfect space. Our expert team offers personalised advice to match your style and budget. Visit us on Main Street, Buncrana. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Or visit hegartyshomeinteriors.ie. Hegarty's Home Interiors, making homes beautiful since 1946.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. If you haven't started using the McElhinney's Layaway Club, it's not too late. Spread the cost of Christmas with designer gifts for the whole family. Available by phone or in-store at McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
Okay, there's only 2 things that are certain in life. We're going to get some rain, and I'm going to get a friend request from someone selling fire sticks on Facebook. But anyway, let's have a look at the weather forecast. Any mist and fog will clear. Has cleared, actually. It's going to leave a mostly dry day today with a mix of cloud and sunny spells with just a few showers. Highest temperatures today, 12 or 13 degrees and mostly light southwest breezes, freshening near coasts during this evening. Hi, Greg. Clothing bank down at the entrance to the council offices on the Neil T. Blaney Road. That's if you're in Letterkenny. And I think those sort of public services centres, I can't remember the phraseology for them, but there's normally a clothes bank there. I flew out of Birmingham yesterday and there were thousands at the airport queuing. My advice is get to the airport early. Another caller says, I'm in my 50s and I'm scared of bangers and fireworks, as years ago a banger was thrown at me outside a public house. That's the kind of impact it has, and some people don't realise that what your actions, albeit fleeting, and you forget about them, they can leave a lasting impression on somebody else. Another caller believes that the Gardaí need to be out watching outside schools where children are trading these types of illegal things. Children should not be unsupervised on Halloween night. Elderly people are also vulnerable. A caller believes the tourist office in Letterkenny should be in the town square along with public toilets. The square used to have tea rooms and people from buses got tea and sandwiches. A nice centre, gathering place. Okay, that's an interesting one. Are all footpaths going to be gritted? This is a lot of money wasted in town, back road footpaths. I don't believe that footpaths are part of the gritting programme, and it's kind of up to, I suppose, the business owner, if it's a business, or indeed if it's a private residence. I don't know. Back to the people stuck in Birmingham. Why did that young man and his family not come forward when this... okay, that's actually completely separate. I'll come back to that. Hi, Greg. How's things? Vinny and Martin from the V&M podcast. And we're running a 24-hour online live podcast this Sunday for Wee Ruby Houston. We will be live on Instagram with a donation link. And if there are any businesses out there that would like to support, please get in touch. We'd appreciate a wee plug in your show. Of course, Vinny and Marty, two lovely lads. And they are doing a 24-hour online live podcast. Now, I thought I could waffle, but to do it for 24 hours, check out their Facebook page. If you can donate, please donate. And if you're a business owner and you'd like to support them, please get in touch. It's Sunday, the 27th of October, with special guests joining them. All right, we'll be back tomorrow with more special guests on this show. Have a great Tuesday, everyone. Stay